Are you doing them all?
I do them all. I don't want to hear, but I do them all. You always do it all, don't you? This week. It's Monday.
Thank you, kind sir.
Thank you.
You look like you're running like a madman.
Yeah,
Are you?
like a crazy one. Yeah.
Looks good. Ready?
I'm ready whenever you are, Commissioner.
All right. We'll get going with
Was it just pictures or video?
County Commission this morning. Monday, the 27th day of June, 2022. And we will have a prayer by Volley Moran and then a pledge by Jeannie Bartholomew.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful this morning for the opportunity to meet and grateful for the Constitution which sets forth freedoms which are given from Thee to all mankind, but enumerated in this great country of ours. We pray as we meet that we might have Thy Spirit with us. Help us to deliberate and communicate with reason and with respect. And we invite Thy Spirit to be with us, that even though there may be occasional disagreements on small points, we would still be friends when we leave this meeting. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve approval of claims?
I'll move to approve the claims for payment from June 13th, 2022 to June 26th, 22.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion carries. Let's go to departmental reports.
What about minutes?
We didn't get minutes.
Oh, we didn't get minutes,
Nope.
did we?
We'll get those next time. Let's go to Terry. He left. Oh, he's here. He's in the corner
I'm hiding in the corner.
with building.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. It is good to be here to give you a report, to let you know that growth is still going on and there is construction still going on in the county. The first sheet that I've handed out just kind of gives a little bit of summary of what we've got. This year, so far, we've issued 333 building permits compared to last year's 301. So our numbers are still up from last year, and last year was a record year, so we're still busy. Building, we've reviewed plan reviews on 368 projects this far compared to 319 last year. So we still have plans coming in. We have completed 2,376 inspections this year compared to 1,918 last year. A lot of stuff, a lot of houses have come in, and we still see numbers there. Current projects that we're working on, Newcastle Fire Station, we've got that one. There was a little bit of issue. We're trying to get the general contractor to get his license number approved by the state for the CDBG grant. He was in Friday, says that he got an email back, says that they've accepted it now. It was accepted once, rejected because they caught a misspelling on the company name. So we had to go back and try to get that corrected. It kicked him out 2 or 3 times. So Friday, he come in and says he got an email that they have accepted it. He should know in a week or 2 now, but we are in the process of starting the work anyway, knowing that we've got to get that approved, and they've given that verbal okay right now. So
It's okay to start.
yeah.
Good.
He knows that he can't date anything previous to him being approved, and he understands that. But we've got footings excavated now, testing's done, hoping to pour this week footings on the fire station. in
That was
Newcastle.
done, right?
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, Lester got back with Jim, and we found all the reports and worked with Bruce. All the reports were
got
done
that all
going
done.
through. So
While ago.
so we got all the testing done. So they are hoping to pour concrete Wednesday afternoon on footings to get started on that one. Fairgrounds, we did get that. They've got material coming in, so hopefully they will start digging up grass this week, to start laying sprinklers to get them done around the fairgrounds and stuff.
I think Carter's gonna pour tomorrow.
Okay.
So he'll have that poured, and then he can do that,
And
do
start.
whatever he wants. And I think John bladed that off. Curtis, and he did get that done.
He's blading it today.
Well, it was bladed. I was over there Saturday, and it was bladed. And they'd already hauled some topsoil in, so.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna blade topsoil in today.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he had already
nice.
bladed the rough, just the rough stuff, but then, yeah. So maybe we were thinking 2 different things.
I was thinking topsoil.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
So we're getting that one. The sprinklers and lawn will be taken care of hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days, so that we give a little bit of time before the fair gets in going. So that's underway.
Cool.
The Senior Citizen Center, we had a little bit of hiccup with that. We have Cedar Valley has got the ductwork hooked up. We had electrician scheduled. There was miscommunications. We have the electrician was supposed to be back Thursday. I have not verified that they've got that fan hooked up the Senior Citizen Center now, but that was supposed to have been done Thursday afternoon.
The fan is installed.
Yes, it was installed.
You gotta hook it up.
Well, that was where the confusion was. Curtis says he had the electrician was going to do it, couldn't get it. We had one scheduled. We took him off because Curtis said he had one. So we have ours that should have been back there Thursday. I've got to check on that, but it should be in operation now there. And that one should be taken care of. If not, we will in the next day or 2 get that one finished up. Building department, if you've been in lately, the remodel is done.
Yay.
We put the last of the cove base underneath the cabinets Friday afternoon, so it is done. Chelsea's getting set up, pretty much set up now. So that new office area for Chelsea is done, remodeled, all
Nice.
complete. So hopefully it'll make it a whole lot better work-wise there to keep it more professional, get things moved through more efficiently. So we appreciate that. The big page is a lot of numbers again. The top column that goes left to right, that is for the unincorporated just out in the county with numbers. If we can do the comparison from 2021 to 2022, we've 211 permits last year and 248 permits this year in the county. Single family, you can look, we went from 84 last year to 129 this year. That's where our biggest growth is. That's where our most inspections come from, is those single family dwelling houses. Additions remodel, we're pretty close there. Accessory structures, we're down. Our accessories are detached garage, sheds, and that type of stuff, so they're down a little bit there. Solar systems, solar on houses, you can see they're up a little bit there. Gas and electrical service upgrades are down just a little bit. Then we did have one more commercial business come in this year. The next column down is combined Periwin, Bryan Head, Paraguna. Yeah, I think we got them all. And the numbers there. So we can look at the building permits. We go to single family. Well, overall, we're up about 16, 15, 16 there between the 4 entities that we help cover there. Houses are up from 15 to 16 to 15 last year to 26 this year. Numbers across there are about the same. If we look down at the bottom, you go down to the very bottom, you got these are combined numbers. We have our total number of permits are up 52. Building permit fees collected so far is $256,613. Valuation of just over $14.5 million in value. So we can see right now that growth is still going. We still have stuff going on. We think our June numbers are down just a little bit, but overall we're still a lot coming in, a lot going on. We've got a few more businesses and industrial things that are looking to come in. So we've still got a lot going on. So we're staying busy that way. Any questions, anything that we need to work out or look at?
Code enforcement, how's that going?
We got him running.
And highway's looking better.
It is.
For sure.
We are doing a lot of work out there. That's where he's been focusing the majority of it.
Yep.
We've got quite a bit done. We're keeping him busy. We could go full time, but we're not going to approach that right now because we're keeping him. We're trying to keep one step ahead of a few of them. It is going good, and that was one of them I didn't get, but we have a couple of them we've got cleaned up on Lund Highway, or almost cleaned up. We've gone through a lot of the areas. The one you talked to me about, we're waiting to see where we're at with court procedures and getting that ready to go to court in Mid-Valley Estates, because that's where that one will end up, because they have not done there. So we're keeping up, trying to do a lot of that. He's trying to keep ahead of a lot of stuff. We have a lot on his plate with that for part-time. He's working out good to help us there.
That one in Mid-Valley, I mean, when it starts encroaching, adding to the road, that's a problem.
It is.
a problem.
It is. And that's the one Sam's going to be working with him this next week or so to try to get it ready to go to court, because he's been non-compliant. He has not responded back to us. So we're past that 30 days. Yeah.
Wow.
We're past the 30 days on that one. So we will start that. Get ready to go to court on that one. But we have got the cars that we had a lot of complaints on. He's got most of those gone. There's still a few there. We're getting with the RVs and stuff. We've got a few others. Fred has got most of his porta potties out there. We've got to get a few more things cleaned up, but we've started out there in that area in earnest, getting things straightened up and working around. So
That's great. That's really good.
I was approached by a guy that lives in that area the other day that was really appreciative. He said there's a noticeable difference, and in fact, the group, that came in and spoke to us in commission meeting, he says, I got to get everybody together and come back and say thank you, because things are actually progressing. I said, well, that'd be wonderful,
Usually
because
doesn't
we
happen.
we don't ever get that. So
no, it doesn't.
please do that. So I don't know if they will
that
or
was the
not,
group
but-
that when we hired him, he was sitting here and they were sitting
Yeah.
there. He got his eyes woken.
He said, hey, that really worked. I'm like, well,
So-
we try.
And we're trying, and that's why I say he's doing a good job. He's come a long way with this. Sam's worked with him a lot to help him understand the process to make sure we're following what needs to be done, so that when it
Right.
gets to Sam and on his desk, we've covered everything that needed to be done. So
Cool.
we appreciate it.
Very
If there's not anything else, I want to give a shout out and thank the commissioners. You have done a lot. We appreciate the raises and what you took into consideration for the raises. Our department is very grateful for that. There was a lot of consideration. We know that you put a lot of time into it. You took a lot of heat over it, knowing that it was an off time for that and it was election year. There's a lot of things involved. We do appreciate it, because it is very noticeable for us that you have taken a lot of time. We do appreciate that for all that you've done for us. And I just want to let you know on that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Terry.
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
I'll
All
be
right.
here for a few minutes. If something else comes up, then I'm
Okay.
going to go back to work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
What are you going to do after lunch?
I'm going to another meeting. I'm not here yet.
Oh,
Who are you? Yeah.
yeah.
I introduced this new guy.
Yeah.
I've seen him for a week, and
I know.
everybody wanted
No
to
longer than that. Okay,
If you go have Bruce go, I won't have much more to say.
Richard, you're up.
All right. So I appreciate being back. There seems to be plenty going on. I will mention we had all of our grandchildren together the last week, and it was
So
that's
fun.
what we were doing, was a family reunion, which we planned 4 years ago, and because of the pandemic, it got pushed out a few years, but we're hopefully back on schedule. Well, the engineering department has quite a few things that have been going on in the last 3 months. As many of you are aware, Lund Highway is now chip sealed, thanks to the road department and all
It's
their
so
cooperation.
smooth. It is so beautiful.
So that is a big plus of projects that were started over a year ago and coordination and now completed. The Fairgrounds, I was just talking to Curtis this morning, the water line is still going in. And I know that Terry just spoke a little bit about that, but the coordination there was also awesome. We were able to figure out where the drainage should go and what kind of layout that should have. And we got light poles up as well as conduit in.
Which
We've had-
Richard did himself. I have to give him a kudos over
Well,
that.
I know how to glue pipe. That's not real hard.
That's pretty awesome.
So we have that. We have 2 NRCS projects that are starting up. One is the emergency funding, which we signed back in March, and they are starting to work on 7 projects across the county, which is in planning stages. It's interesting that they call them emergency funds, which we applied for last September. They were approved in January. The agreements were signed in February, and now the planning goes forward.
It's a good thing
and
it
that-
wasn't a real emergency.
Pardon me?
It's a good thing it wasn't a real emergency.
It is a crazy thing. And in fact, the actual moving of dirt won't start until next year, because NRCS requires that there be engineered plans for every project that gets approved. And Bowen Collins was selected, and you're aware of that. The other project, we just had a kickoff meeting for the Lower Coal Creek study just a few weeks ago. I was surprised there weren't more people there. We sent out notices. We encouraged people from the areas that were affected last year, to come. But we only had about 35 in attendance at the meeting. I was expecting at least 100. But as sometimes is the case with flooding, immediately after flooding, it's a catastrophe. A year later, it's on the back burner, and 2 years later, what flooding? And I'm afraid that's just the nature of us as people. We have inspected all the major channels in the last several months. We've gone and looked at Schertz Creek. We've looked at Periwin channel, Lower Coal Creek, and Quichapa. They're in good order. I think that in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to go out and inspect them all again. There's constantly concern about the buildup of silt. It's just a reoccurring annual event. Whether we get a lot of water or a little water, the silt comes down out of the canyon. And I want to make sure we're ready for this monsoon season, which is already upon us with possibilities. I understand. I saw pictures of George on the news last night out there.
It was on the news as well. They didn't know, though. They didn't know it, though.
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
KSL did a story about flooding and
Sandbagging.
showed some sandbag preparations in Iron County yesterday.
That's what I saw.
I was going to talk about it in my report, but I got a call Saturday wanting some sandbags, and we didn't have any. So we had a loader there at the yard. I went and down and I started hauling sand, that reject sand from the pit down below, and then I put a deal out on Facebook, and then I tried calling Elder Smith from the church, LDS Church, and couldn't get him, so I called our stake, and our stake presidency put out a request. We had about probably 30 people show up, and I was expecting to get a few pallets done, but we got about 20 done that night, so it was really productive.
Right.
So it was good.
And I think being staged for that is a good idea, because as much as we strive to prevent bank overflow, it's just an ongoing process. Once we get a small breach, we need an ability to fill the breach quickly. And that's one of the reasons in the next 2 weeks I'd like to go out and look at them, as well as work with the news agencies in the next couple of weeks to remind people to clean out in front of their own gutters and things like that, where the channels get backed up, and particularly where driveway crossings are, the culverts are either buried or plugged, and that becomes an issue year after year. It's easy to forget that. Those are the ongoing things right now. We'll be looking at more. 4100, Bruce is going to talk about that, but we did confirm that we have all the easements and right-of-ways to do 4100. We thought we had a holdout, but after talking with Dan Sherritt, it was a bit of confusion on what his deed said versus what his property lines actually are. So that's been resolved.
Good.
And Dan was good to work with. It was just totally a need to be on site to see, with both he and I, to look at it. And then I was satisfied that we had everything we need to do 4100. Are there any questions?
What about 800 South? Plat's got that designed. Where are we at on that?
Bob was actually in my office this morning. Bob Plat was in my office going over some of his proposals and crossover channels on 800. He has not worked up a cost yet. They're not going to be inexpensive, but I think the best solution is to make some cross cuts across 800 to take the water.
Several of them, or
A
just
minimum
are we
of-
gonna?
a
Do they
minimum
like
of
the idea
two.
of dipping the road like we thought
Yes,
about?
yes.
They like that.
A minimum of 2. What we're trying to determine is if we'll need a third. It's obvious that we'll use we'll start from the west down by the pump station, and we'll have one there. And whether we can catch the rest of the water with just a second one, or whether we'll need a third one, because we're catching everything off of Westview Drive as well, and everything to the east of Westview Drive. It all comes through there.
There's
We're
a
just looking
lot.
at-
Well, and
There's a
even-
lot that drains into
Even
that
up
corner.
on the hill.
Exactly.
Across Hollow,
Yeah, that
yeah.
whole hill above Westview Drive comes down into that subdivision. And we were just looking at the topography this morning, Bob and I, and
Is there
discussing.
any hope of anything this year with that, or?
Well, I'll have to come in for funding to do it, special funding proposal, because right now what we're talking about, those cross channels will be very expensive, and I think they'll exceed my emergency flood.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think the road crew will have time to do it for us.
Oh,
So
we'll
we're gonna
probably
have
have
to
to
hire it
hire
out.
someone to do that. I was afraid of that, but.
So we're gonna have to cut the road, take out the asphalt, and we're gonna want to do it with concrete so that it's a sustainable.
How deep are the
cross channel.
utilities? What if we were this year Bruce, what if we were to just right there by Eric Halliday's house, just cut the asphalt, cut it,
Blue staked it.
cut it, and then just do something temporary to just whatever comes. At least we can get some of the water.
Get it to the north side
Mhm.
of the road.
Yeah. Could we? I mean, is that possible this year to? Or, I mean,
The
Preston
biggest issue is that road has got such a high ground in it.
it's huge.
does,
You have to
huge.
go back so far
Yes.
in order
It's
to get
huge.
that slope. It's almost,
What Bob and I were talking, at least a 30-foot cross channel,
yeah.
just so that a low boy or something coming through there won't be dragging.
Yeah.
Right.
Bob was gonna go ahead
Some
and
of
look
those
at the one
trailers
going-
probably will anyway.
Might.
That's the issue, is that road has got such a high crown, and then to get it all the way across the street, you gotta be pretty low in the center, and then you have that big. So even chasing it back, I thought, well, I got a drawing of one, and I think it was 30 feet wide. It's just hard, the chasing the asphalt back to make that smooth enough to go through it.
And then to get to the other side where we have some utilities.
So high.
I think we
Yeah.
need to go a lot more than 30 feet. I
We
think
we
like
can go
60
wider,
with the
it's
concrete.
just,
That's just the concrete structure is 30 feet wide.
Yeah.
And you chase that back on either side.
Yes, well,
You talking a
That's
box
fine.
culvert? You talking a box culvert or
No,
just
no,
up on the
no.
road? You're just
we're talking
Just a cross gutter.
just
Okay.
a big cross cutter. The crown of that road is anywhere from 8 to 12 inches higher than the top of the curb.
Right. So do we have to do it concrete, or can we just pave it? Can't we just pave the dip?
That's what Preston has said before. He's talked about that he thought that was adequate
I
Wouldn't
work.
be for very long.
No, I don't
It
think
wouldn't
it's.
be for very
for
long.
very long.
I think if we concrete it, we've got a 40-year solution. If we
Mhm.
asphalt it, we've got a 5 to 6 year repair. And we can't just keep adding asphalt back to it and topping it, or we're
Because
taking
you
out
won't-
the channel.
That's true.
So the concrete will be at the elevation, at the flow line, and it'll stay at that flow line
Bottom of curb.
consistent. Yeah.
You know, that'll be a good deterrent for speed also. I just have to say.
It will be
because that is a problem
especially
on
if
that
we
road.
have 3 of them.
Yeah.
But they won't be so severe.
Would it encourage
Hopefully-
motocross?
Maybe.
I,
the right
I have
speed?
to say,
Like
my
at
goal
the
is that,
fairground.
Commissioner, I have to say, my goal is that they won't be as severe as the ones going up to the temple.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be a little gentler than that one.
Well, it was fixed once. It used to be
Worse
airbags.
than
that.
Airbags were going off.
That's what I was told this morning by Bob. I had not seen the original cross cut there. Are there any questions for me?
I think they're good.
Well, I want to tell you that
you're
I
not-
too appreciate the commissioners. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Yep. Planning and zoning and planning. I guess Reed's not here, but
Oh, that was
Is
one
he
thing
gonna
I
be-
wanted to talk about briefly. Dealing with public roads by use. Sam and I and Terry and Reed, we did come up with a what would we say? What would you call that, Sam? We came up with a checklist that is
Determination criteria check,
road determination.
mostly for staffing, but
you need your microphone.
road determination criteria checklist.
Which BLM was impressed with and are going to start using. And so
Oh wow.
it's been a great
Good job, Sam.
opportunity to
That
grow.
was a collaboration. I won't take credit for that. Reed, and,
Oh, he's very
Rich,
good.
we're
Yeah, they're very good.
putting in on that. So
Oh, great.
Right.
Oh, that's a long-standing problem
Yes,
that is
yes.
good to at least lay a
Have
criteria
some
over.
criteria.
And right
that-
now, I have at least 3 feuding
Parties.
property owners who are pressing us for
criteria.
over those issues
Oh,
of
yeah.
what's open, what's not open.
Yeah.
How can I not? Why can anybody drive across my land? Those kind of things,
Yep.
and it's really hard to explain to them.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but it's hard for them to understand that these are
But
public
to
roads.
have it
by
in
use.
writing is going to be huge, I'm sure, for them.
We have a process now that is I think a great step forward in as much as that it will provide a continuity for everyone. It's the same. It's not. It's very transparent in the way that everybody can see that we have always treated them the same. But now with the checklist, we show them that we have gone through the questions.
And it's not dissimilar to some of the fights we've had with RS-2477 over the years on public lands.
Yeah.
It's very similar. It's trying to figure out criteria to maintain access that's been historically available.
And
But
that was good with BLM.
There are some strong feelings there, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying when I met with BLM, which has been a real. I've really enjoyed the past year and my collaborations with Cedar City, with the towns of Enoch and Periwin. I think we have good relationships, and those relationships with BLM and the Forest Service. We don't always perhaps see it the same way, but we have a good, friendly working relationship, which is always the best way to start, and then we can come to compromises. So,
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Oh, Richard, just
Yes.
back to 800 South. I hope we can push that. We need to get that done. And so we need to figure out funding mechanisms and get that out to bid.
Well, if
So-
we can do it temporary, we would put it in the way, we would put it in the place where we'd put the permanent fix. We'd
Okay.
cut the road. We would not be
If-
wasting all the work, what we'd probably be wasting is some asphalt.
Just a little bit out.
Yeah, just some, yeah, I mean, I think
And I think
those
the way
homeowners in that area right there they have a lake
Get
there every
hammered,
year, and it's,
yeah.
we've got to do something. And even if it's a temporary fix this year, and get it fixed properly next year, I think we need to do something. Even if we hire that done, Bruce, just to put in a culvert, just to get that water across the street.
I don't think a culvert will
Yeah,
work.
culvert.
We want to have a
It's
cross.
too
gutter.
much water.
Well, there's the south side of the road right there, that handicap approach is so low. That curb should have been raised up maybe 18 more inches right there. But that, like you said, the crown of the road is a foot higher than
Right.
all back.
Yeah.
I shot it. I did have it blue staked, and most of the stuff is on the south side, so you could lower the
Oh.
center and the.
So there's not much in the road itself. Okay.
So Richard,
I didn't.
Yes.
do you suppose then, I mean, if you were to do a temporary fix with asphalt, I mean, that would probably,
With
short
your
of a big flood
budget.
this time, make it so that the commissioner could consider it during the regular budget cycle
For the
this
concrete.
next year.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Because that is.
That would
significant.
be that would be a good idea, and also, there's nothing like empirical evidence to confirm thought and planning. And so, if we do one crosscut, we'll know.
That stuff's growing so fast.
It is. There's so much
That
up
ground
there.
right next to the substation, right? I just see like an elementary school or something being on that road, so slowing the road, the traffic down isn't really that big an issue.
Yeah.
And we could probably do that this year.
That would
Cut
be.
it out. There's a lot of asphalt to move.
It is.
If we build it close, then the excavation on the next one would just be less, right?
That's right. That's right.
So
We just
maybe there's
utilize.
a little bit of additional savings on when we do it, when we do it.
Even if we gravel it this year, of course in the winter it'd be a mess, but.
That's what I worry about, commissioners
Maybe
not
we
having
could
a
get
good
John to
seal.
blade that asphalt in there and not have to pave it.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just something temporary,
yeah.
just something, a
Temp-
quick fix, just to
temporary.
get it so the water can get across the road.
Save us a ton of money there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a big project, but we could probably
Yep.
do that.
I didn't roll it out.
Well, we'll get together.
I just think
out
we
there
owe
and
it to
talk
those
about it.
residents to do what we can.
Well-
They've suffered for so many years that.
The other item down there that's so important that we want to protect is our lift station.
Yes.
That's an expensive
right
piece of
there.
infrastructure that
Mhm.
we do not want submerged.
Yeah, Cedar City hauled in some gravel last year and burned that up, which helped quite a bit, but it's.
It's still.
Well,
At
as
risk.
we saw, it was undermining and their cement pad around that lift station, just because of saturation. So,
Yeah.
yep. Thanks for asking, Commissioner, and
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you.
It was provident that Bob came in actually this morning to report on their progress.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good. Okay. Bruce Anderson. Landfill and roads.
So, good morning, thanks for letting me be here. We'll just take part of what's gone on. We did finish the road out to Lund, like they'd already said. It is not totally finished, though. There's still a little bit of, we gotta do some shoulder work and then put the final coat of asphalt on the top, but that'll be later on this summer. So it's not finished, but it looks
It's
finished.
smooth. Oh man, is it smooth?
Looks finished. We're right in the middle of skim patching right now and then hauling chips to the jobs that we're gonna start shipping on the 14th of July. And we're also working at the Fairgrounds. We got the Periwin Gap, we got 4,000 north, between 2,300 and the Lund Highway. We got 3,900 west that we did last year, we gotta put a third coat on. The Vandenberg, we gotta put a third coat on. 7,700 west, we gotta put a third coat on. And then we're gonna clean up Old Highway 91 and chip it on the south end down by Hamilton's Fort. Then we gotta put a third coat on the Bob Holt Road, that 2 miles of Bob Holt that we traded for. All the employees are healthy and working. We also have interviews to hire the 2 positions on July 8th. Our budget is on track for now. We did have a pretty expensive dozer issue that went down the tracks, and the stabilizer in the front broke, so it was about 40,000 more than we'd expected. So
Was that the 7 or 8?
7.
So-
The 8's in there right now getting the exact same thing, so it'll be close to 90,000 on the 8. It's a little bit bigger job. But,
Did you get the grader back?
yep,
The turntable?
yep, it's
Fixed
going
on
good,
it?
yep. Travis is using it, and we
Good.
got 2. We took the other one that was not running well, got it fixed, and 2 of them are going up the mountain today. Hopefully it rained enough to make a difference up there.
Oh,
So we
nice.
got 2 guys going up there blading the roads on the mountain.
Oh, awesome.
Canara Mountain is an issue. I did go to the BLM and got permission to stage some gravel at the bottom, right where the tipple used to end. We're gonna stage gravel there later this summer, process it, and haul it on Canara. We can haul it there with trucks and pups, and then we can haul it up the mountain in just trucks. So we can process the gravel and hopefully get it to stay there. We're gonna take the type 2 from the landfill. We did a little project where the road washed out going down to the Pinole Road last year, and it held really good. That stuff's got a little bit more clay in it, and it's hardly washboarded. So
That's
we
great.
we may even take a couple loads of asphalt up on a couple of them bad turns in Canara Mountain, just so the ranchers can get up there and not. It's so bumpy, it's so sandy, and just gets so bad that
It does.
it's hard to pull trailers up and down there. So hopefully we'll have that done before the livestock come off the mountain. That's our plan anyway. But the
Cool.
BLM gave us the right to put that gravel there and process it. So
Good. You just screen that, or?
we're just gonna
Crush
put
it.
It's crushed already.
Oh, it's
so we'll
already
just
crushed.
process it with water and haul it up, so we don't have to have a
Great.
water truck on that skinny road.
Oh, great. Great.
Laid it and compact it in on site. Anything else about roads? Maybe we could meet with Rich and you and I and go down to 800 and go look at that.
That'd be good.
And I'll ask Bob Plat. if
To
he
come
will-
to?
Yeah, Bob,
Okay, that'd be great.
or Mike, whichever.
We just need to, whatever we do, we need to make sure it's safe for the people that are used to going fast. They need to, we might have to put an electronic sign or something warning people that there's a dip.
Now and then we can put up regular signs.
Right.
Big ol' smile with the dip in it, right?
Yeah.
Jeff was so happy when he put that sign up. He texted to me, guess what I'm doing up here at the temple? It's like Christmas time for him. Going on to the landfill, our re-permit process is getting closer. Doug came down and did a landfill inspection. He's the DEQ regulator assigned to our landfill. And he said, I said, how come it's taking so long? And he said, it's just on their desk waiting to sign. And I said, well, what's going on? And he said, well, he has to, the guy's an accountant, not a geologist, so he's having to double study it. So he felt like it would go through. The engineer that we hired to get us through this process felt like it's gone through. We did go through the public comment process, and we're just waiting on signature from the director. So that should be any time, I was thinking, but all our employees are good out there. Our budget's on track, with the exception of fuel and that $90,000 dozer breakdown. Like I said earlier, Doug came down and we did the inspection. Went out to Matt and Maryland's and saw the land application. Nancy has one. Went to Bullock Pit, the Periwin Pit, and then the Iron Springs location. Everything was good. You got the letter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um,
Yep. They said everything was great.
Yeah. So we've been running low on cans.
Hey, Bruce,
ahead.
there was a sign in Enoch that said what did it say? The dump is open on Saturday. I'm like, the dump's always open on Saturday.
Yeah, that's our Enoch one. Our truck actually broke down.
Okay.
It was full-time, but they were trying to open it up on just Saturday.
So you just had a
Oh.
So
haul
what
off
happened
there.
is their truck broke down, and then we've been lending them a truck on
Okay.
Mondays to haul that, so that people can just take it to there. So
Okay,
they actually
great.
come picked up our truck this morning, and they're gonna haul that trash with our truck.
Yeah.
So-
And how come we can do that?
We made a good drug deal.
We made a good drug deal. So I love that Bruce says it like that. but I also want to point out that thanks to and because of Bruce, the three major municipalities there use the same trucks, so they're interchangeable for just such a situation. And it just so happens that Enoch is the beneficiary today, but
Yeah.
other days
Might
we've
be
been the
later.
beneficiary. Yeah.
Yep.
Do we use the
We
same
may be
drug
later.
deal or just the same drug?
I think everybody does the same drug deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sam may have to cover his ears.
I think it's important that we help our communities.
We're all
I
in this
really do.
together,
We're
man.
all
Really
in it
nice to
together.
have everything the same, because then we can you don't have to retrain drivers. Everything's really nice.
Yeah.
So they come pick ours up. Jeff at the Cedar City has done the same thing for us, and so has Periwin City.
I think it's important to point that collaboration out. That I mean, you kind of initiated, but they were all willing to do it. And times like this, boy, they're sure benefiting today because they don't have a truck.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there have been times when we have. So
So we did our wood chipping, got all the limbs chipped.
I'm sorry to. So the cans are kind of a big deal in my
All
world.
The cans they should be here tomorrow.
Okay.
Should be here tomorrow. So
We get a lot of calls and
they were
we're-
supposed to be here the 1st of June. We're getting them the 1st of July, which
Yeah.
I guess isn't bad considering other people have been through worse.
Right.
So, but I think we got like one left. We've only been
I need
servicing
it.
new
Mine's
homes.
bad too.
We've only
Out to the
been
You have to
taking
get
them out
mine.
to new homes if it's been broken and possible to go on. We haven't been able to replace for probably 3 weeks or a month, wouldn't you think?
It's been a while, and you know, I will say too, the landfill has been managing it fairly well, and a lot of the customers have had to be patient and kind of hobble a broken can for a little while. People who want a second can have to wait. And that's out of the Iron County's control. We're just waiting on additional cans that have been ordered. So,
Yeah. They said they're loading today in California and should be here tomorrow sometime.
oh, that's great.
It's just like everything else, and the supply chain has been interrupted, and
Yeah,
we are affected also.
yeah.
Oh.
But hopefully we're out of that. We grind up all the tree limbs. It actually went a lot faster and a lot better than we thought. All that stuff gets saved. It doesn't go into the pit, so there was, I don't know, a lot that doesn't go there.
And then
We're
you
able
sell
to
it,
resell
right?
it.
Yeah.
And on this next page, you'll be able to see how much more we've increased that. That mulch sales have just gone really well. People in the community love it. It's good for around your house and dust control, and there's so many applications that people use it for.
You just
And
load
it's
it,
cheap.
You load it for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
good.
Just it's $35 a scoop or $35 a ton if they can bring a dump trucks. We sell a lot to landscapers, sell a lot to horse people that dry their corrals out, and
yeah,
it's
that's
it
nice.
just has a lot of good applications. And the biggest thing is it's not going in the landfill. Right?
We love it. We use it at our house.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
good
great.
stuff. It smells good because it's all clean and chipped, you know,
Yeah.
like cedar trees and pine trees. Same with the metal. Our metal recycle went really, really well. I think we're close to almost $180,000 is what they paid us so far, and there's still some to come in. So they went through it real fast this year. There's prices of fuel are up, prices of recycled metal are up. So it kind of offsets itself. I don't know if it's good or bad. And then we're also right in the middle of building the pit. The top pit has come all the way out, so we're building a road to go to the back of it, and we're just about to max out our last lift in the C&D, so we've got to build a couple of roads. And then I think last time I was here, we just barely done the spring water samples, and they came back good. So the one in the C&D is going to have to be eliminated at some point, but Doug, we went over that with Doug, and he said, no worries. That's just how it is, and things have been unchanged for so long that we're looking good that way. I guess I got a little bit of bad news. Our loader bids came back for landfill, and they were about $90,000 higher than what we had anticipated. I don't know what kind of thought process I had when I wrote that down, but I'm just assuming they told me that was what it was, and so I put it down. And I think I put down 250 or 225, and the new loader came back at 219. So or
319.
319, yeah, 319.
Well, that's how
something that we'll have
everything's
to
gone up.
discuss. Yeah, we'll have to discuss that and see how that rolls out. These next 2 pages are just through June 26th of this year to June 26th of last year. And just like Terry said, we had a record year last year, and you can see how much we're up. And surprisingly, they're on number 4. That's the class 4. That is construction and demolition. So it was 8,000 tons last year, and this year's 13,000 tons. So you can see that the construction and busyness in our town is exactly what we all believe it is. So that's just kind of a snapshot of where we are up to date. Any questions?
So knowing how busy you guys are, I hauled some sand on Saturday for the sandbagging we did.
Right.
But then yesterday after church I went down for about 3-4 hours and hauled a bunch of that reject sand. I think we have
Thank
plenty
you.
for the year. If we have too much, we can probably maybe stockpile it up there,
Yeah.
just pile it up. But hopefully we don't need it. But if we do, I think we've got enough.
Aren't we hauling some to the
Canaraville.
communities, Canarraville and
So we've already hauled it to Paragoona, and we're hauling it to Canaraville today.
That reject sand,
Yep.
it's good
Tomorrow.
stuff right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There's a lot there too.
is Periwin gonna take some too, or?
They
we
probably
talk-
have their own.
Oh,
They've
they
got
have
this
their own.
pit that's
Yep,
at
yep.
the top of the canyon, or the bottom of the canyon, that's got plenty in it.
They just need sandbags probably, huh, George?
They
Got
said
some.
they're probably good for right now, but I'm
Got-
getting on alert too.
Okay,
So
It's like we
Enid and
dodged it.
Periwin would do their own.
okay.
It's like we dodged a bullet yesterday. Those cells went kind of to the east of
Yeah.
us, but they were building pretty good there for a while.
We're hoping it wet the roads down enough. That's what we're. got
That
our
would be
fingers crossed that
awesome.
it was just right.
Yeah,
I saw a video where it was
Help
raining
ya.
hard on the mountain, so I think they got some good
I
moisture.
hope so.
yeah.
Settle some dust and
Mhm.
clean things up, get things to
that'll-
grow.
That'll help us with the roads.
I didn't hear, we do have a problem at the flyover down by Hamilton Fort. We have Bruce called me just 2 weeks ago, and they.
Speaking of the mic, Rich, so people hear.
We do have a problem down there at Hamilton Fort at the flyover. The expansion joint on the west side has opened up. So I'm looking at that to find out what the solution is to that break or that expansion joint on the west side of the flyover. That's our responsibility because I guess we get funding for
I don't-
91.
It was news to me.
Yeah,
When I got
it
the
was
email,
news. Yeah.
it was news to me that was ours. I was under the impression that all the, he calls it a flyover, I call it an overpass. He scared me for a minute when he said flyover. I'm like, I
What
don't
is
know
that?
anything about airplanes. But
Listen to
there's a-
conference
I
more
didn't know what he
often.
was talking about.
There's a big hole there, and it goes right down to
It's-
the freeway. It's probably chipped back that far, maybe 3 inches. And so, actually,
can't
Leif
just-
Condi was gonna go look at it. Did he get a chance to look at it?
I
and see?
haven't talked to Leif since I called him and followed up. I'll call him again today.
But
I don't know if you know Leif Condi. He worked
to
for
work for the
UDOT.
DOT.
Now he works for
Sunrise.
Sunrise. But he's basically was UDOT's bridge expert. So
the rest of the structure looked clean. It was just right where it had broken off right at the expansion joint, and the expansion rubber had gone down, and you walk through there and see the freeway.
Ooh,
So
yep.
water won't be sitting there.
Yeah, you don't want to.
It'll rain.
You don't want a rock falling through there hitting a car or something.
Yeah, you don't.
Get
It's
bad news.
Well, it's far enough
as big as my
over.
fist.
Oh, it's
Right.
all okay.
Yeah, it's about this long, but it's far enough over that it's not over a travel way.
Oh, good.
No,
oh,
it's in
that's good.
it's in the right of way.
Okay.
Huh.
So sorry, I
So
forgot
always,
about that.
no, I'd forgotten to. We have plenty to do, commissioners, if you're wondering.
But thank you too.
Okay.
I appreciate all the work that went into and the thought process that went into the raises, and it's helping already. They don't know what it is, but morale at the road department is certainly a lot better, and just the thought that we were thinking, that you guys were thinking about them is a lot. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Bruce. Okay, commission reports. Do you want to go first, Mike?
Sure. I didn't write any notes down.
Well, you
I-
had lots going on.
I usually do. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you want Paul to go first?
I'll just touch on just a couple of things. Really appreciate George being on top of the flooding. I ended up on a down and back trip to San Diego to a wedding. They didn't have enough room to get the wedding cake to the wedding. And so I grabbed the wedding cake, drove down, hit the wedding, slept on the couch at the church, and then came back.
Must have been some really good cake.
It was pretty good cake. I made sure that I did not leave until I had a piece. But I was on the phone with George constantly during the potential flooding. We had sandbags, volunteers lined up both in the community and through the church and the Interfaith Council. If we needed them, they were on standby. And I know there was a lot of, Canaraville and Enoch and Periwin were all very, they're very grateful for that and for that,
Receptive, yeah.
that preemptive response. That I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
There's a bunch more, but I don't have my mind wrapped around it. With tomorrow's the election. Let's get that stupid thing over
I
with.
Amen.
and be able to focus a little bit better.
If you're going to mail your ballot, do it today. Do not mail your ballot tomorrow. It won't count.
Today,
If you
everyone.
procrastinate like me, make sure you turn it in person.
Thank you, John.
Ballot boxes. Where are they?
Ballot boxes are here.
Here?
Cedar City offices, Enoch City offices, Canara City offices, Paraguna town offices.
Burl.
The Burl Dixie Power
Dixie Power.
Agency has consented to be a steward over one of those boxes for us.
Got 'em all.
I think that's all of them.
Very good.
Yeah, Cedar City offices.
Said that.
Yes. Yes, and then so Periwin Courthouse, the courthouse in Periwin, and then the Periwin City offices as well. So we appreciate. I won't start naming people because it'll take 10 minutes, but all those people that responsibly take care of and guard those boxes for us.
Very good. Paul.
We already covered a lot of stuff I was going to talk about, but Ray Bullock called me. We had a meeting last week and talked about just I guess the biggest challenge we had, I think, last year was having the right kind of machinery at bridges so we could have a thumb and pull debris out, logs and trees that came down and rocks. And we had a meeting last week, and we created a spreadsheet and shared it with a lot of the different leaders in the community, different mayors and city managers and commission and all. Rich, did I send you a copy of it?
You haven't.
Oh,
Or maybe you did.
okay.
I got it.
It's weird because I sent it out and some have had to request permission. I know enough about
Haven't been able
spreadsheets
to
to be
open
dangerous.
mine yet.
Kip could probably straighten me out, but I sent it out, but some have had to request permission, so I don't understand how that works. But anyway, it was a Google Drive doc, and mainly so we all know where each machine's going to be. Ray Bullock called me back, and he said he's available to help at a moment's notice. He said he's got a great big machine. Phil Schmidt's got a great big machine. The thing that really saved us the Woodbury split last year was Wadsworth had a huge excavator on that
Kitty Hawk.
overpass project, and they were able to come down and have the reach to get down and clean the north side of that box culvert. And that was a huge benefit to us getting that cleaned out. If we hadn't had that big machine, it would have been a problem. And so both Ray and Schmidt both said they would be available. So anyway, that document is I made everybody an editor so they can add to it. Or we thought about taking that track hole that we're going to sell of Curtis's, just park it there by Flying L on that small bridge. It's there now.
There.
Okay.
Oh, good job.
All right. When did you do that?
This morning.
Oh,
Oh.
good job.
Wow.
And-
Get up and go to work before 7.
So that's good. So just,
That's
and
pretty
I think Ray said he would handle 3,000 north and the Stevensville ditch, and then we've basically got everybody a machine on and who's going to run it at each site. So we at a moment's notice everybody knows what's going on. So I think that'll be good.
We need to talk about why other communities weren't included in that meeting.
Well,
It was just absolutely for those main channels coming out of Coal Creek.
it wasn't really meant to be a community wide. It was just mainly for the bridges we had problems with last year. So it was really in the Cedar Valley.
Mhm.
But we can have further meetings. So that's all I have.
Oh, okay. I'll go on to me, I guess. I went to that on June 16th, that Bowen Collins water study. It was very good. It brought back the fact that the same issues that our forefathers have had, it's the same thing over and over again. The debris coming down, the silt, all of those problems still exist, and it's a challenge. It's just a huge challenge to keep all of that done. Okay. I also got invited to, on the 23rd, the Great American Stampede Rodeo royalty pageant, and they wanted somebody to represent the county there, and it was very nice. It was done very well, and I appreciate the invitation for that. That's the rodeo that the Lions Club puts on in September, and that was they chose their queen, so that was really nice. We've been working really hard on the fairground. I'm so excited. I'm getting panels put together for the fencing. We've got those old wagon wheels. Frank Nichols has donated most of the material. We've got a few other things we got to gather up, but we've been working on those. And in fact, I think my husband's out there today working again, coping the big things for the big ranch entrances. And that's going to be a big project to get those put up, but I'm excited about that. But does Reed want to talk about? He was on the planning and zoning and planner on the. Did you not know? I don't remember that you did that before, but.
Well, Reed seems a little more tan than usual.
He does. Wow. He probably needed a vacation too. That was probably really good for him. Terry.
Could you come up to the microphone, Terry? Sorry. I can hear you.
On the fairground, Lester met with Marshall and Evans and Joyce, and I think Susan was involved last Thursday to kind of lay out the pedestals and the water locations. So we're hoping to get that started.
Oh, good.
That was the other thing. And then we
good.
started checking on materials for the fence and getting some square footage, some lineal footage on that and stuff to check
good.
material prices for that. So hopefully we can start this week on laying out the meter bases and water.
So
hydrants.
I guess Bruce, you realized that we're going to leave the parking lot area just gravel.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Haul it back there.
Yeah,
Some of it out.
I know you did.
It's okay, we'll put some more in.
Can we put some more in and smooth that all up?
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Appreciate the guy you know. So yeah, so that's
Okay.
we're gonna leave that for now because of the cost, and then we'll
Yeah, the
address that one
sods.
later.
Yeah.
So while you're up here, so I called Blue Stakes and had a Blue Stake that area where Maryland and Matt are building the fence for. I didn't get a chance to look at it close. Did you look at it?
I looked at
Are
it.
we
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
We want to put, because
Yep.
I didn't get,
Yep.
and then they graded it more and covered up the mark, so I didn't. I think
Everything's out in the road.
the high pressure gas line's out in the road.
Just on that north edge, a little bit, and we're gonna go diagonal a little bit on the fencing there, and
We
so
should
I
be-
don't.
we're
We
good?
should be fine. Yeah.
This is the front fence along 300. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just east of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the fence I'm talking is back in that area where
Oh,
we're adding
gotcha,
the grass.
gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay,
Back where
sorry,
we're
yeah.
adding the new
Yeah,
pedestals.
I knew
electrical
that, but I was
pedestals.
talking about the fence out
Yeah.
front too.
The
So, yeah.
gas line goes underneath the curb and gutter, because
Right underneath it, they have.
yeah,
Yeah, it's right underneath.
right underneath that, and the water line's right underneath where I wanted to plant my trees that I don't get to plant now.
The thing we haven't done yet is we got it close, but not tidied up between the curb and
Okay.
sidewalk.
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah.
So yeah, so we are working on that pedestal, the electrical issues back there on that new area. We're
Yeah.
putting that grass for the vendor area.
Is that why that trench is dug, is for the pedestals?
It could be.
Is that where you're putting pedestals? Is that where that
Yes.
trench is?
I haven't been back today to see where the trench was, but yes, I think that's where back.
It's going
down-
east west, that
Yeah,
trench. Okay.
probably so.
Did who dug that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, Curtis did.
Did?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one Lester worked with and they'd talked to. So we're going to put some down along the west side along the chain link fence and then go east-west along where we're going to separate the grass, the vendor area. Put a 2-rail wood split fence similar to that where that one in the corner for the trail parking is a 3. We're only looking at a 2-rail. And then put a 6-foot opening with a post in the middle to keep our 4-wheelers and side-by-sides. Because we
Out of
talked about
there.
the 4-foot. There's still some side-by-sides.
trying to
and-
jump
yeah.
that.
So we're going to do a 6-foot opening, kind of
Grass hill.
direct traffic on a 2-way traffic through some of those openings, and go that route. Is what we're looking at and talking with them. Okay.
Perfect. Yep.
Well, and just one more thing on this fencing for the fairgrounds. I mean, Matt and Marilyn have worked their
I
guts
saw
off.
some pictures.
I told Marilyn that she's elected, Matt's appointed.
There you go.
And,
Exactly.
she appointed him to.
He got voluntold
Yes.
too. Like,
Yep.
no, I saw
He
pictures.
loves a good project. though.
He's
You know,
done an
and-
amazing job on this, and then just the work they've done on that is
Oh,
incredible.
the pictures I've seen, it looks incredible. So I
I
appreciate
hope it's going
that
to turn
service.
out as good as my vision.
I think so. From what I've seen, I think it will. So I do appreciate what Matt and you helped Matt.
And I'm
accomplish there.
hoping that it's all going to be donated.
Okay.
So that's the nice thing.
That's
It
the
won't
good
come
part.
out of our budget.
Okay.
So
Good. Okay. All right. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, well we'll go have a little break. Let's take like 5 minutes and then we'll come back and get going. Okay, welcome back to the 10 o'clock portion of our County Commission meeting, Iron County Commission meeting, Monday, the 27th day of June, 2022. And we will get started. Public hearing, discussion, and possible approval of a proposed zone change from agriculture 20 to commercial for approximately 0.99 acres. It's located at approximately 31,000 South Old Highway 91 between I-15 and Old Highway 91 south of Hamilton Fort. Reed,
Good morning.
welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Think of going to England to get a suntan, right?
Oh,
that's
man.
that's what you think of. So, we're actually at 3100 South, not 31,000
sorry.
South. So,
Oh, yeah,
it's
3,100.
just south of Hamilton Fort, and you recall about a month ago, we did this property right here and rezoned that from R1 to commercial. This property is immediately south along the highway, so that was this property right here that we rezoned. There's just a little piece in between them that's owned by the Paiute tribe, and then this piece is what we're talking about. There are two items on the agenda from the same applicant, and the other one is just a little bit further south. But rather than running them together, we will have two separate public hearings and actions because they are separate parcels. This property is currently zoned A20. It's just right on the edge and adjacent to the R1 that we rezoned right where the star is located. If we zoom in just a little closer, you can see that this is the property that we had before was this property that was, this is the city general future land use plan that had it being central commercial. And then they had this little corridor out here planned to be natural open space. But the Planning Commission recommended approval to rezone this to commercial and felt like that would be really the only good, use of this property. It wouldn't really be very suitable for residential. There was some concern with property owners across the street over in the Hamilton, in the Rainbow Rancho subdivision right here, and then with the property down here, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, is closer to them. But there was a little bit of discussion about also rezoning this property in between so that we had a contiguous zoning of commercial here. Even though this is Paiute tribe property, they don't really conform with the county zoning and kind of do their own thing, just so that we don't have a little piece and then an A20 and then another piece. We thought we'd just rezone the whole parcel. We don't have a legal description for that whole thing because these were the applicants, but we thought with your authorization, the Planning Commission thought that would be a good idea as well, and just continue that commercial zoning all the way through here. The land ownership, you can see the Paiute tribe property, and then they've got this little piece right here that belongs to the tribe. It's not large enough to see that very well, but this has good access along here with Old Highway 91, located right between I-15 and Old Highway 91, and just a little further south. These are some of the maps should look familiar to you. Some of the challenges with this property, of course, to use for commercial, but can still be and have shown feasibility as water. In order to have a commercial use outside of storage units, which they could do on this commercial piece, they would have to bring water in of some kind. And so they're going to have to figure that out, and they're going to have a well there, or work with the city to extend water down further, which they haven't been able to do.
Would they need water for storage unit?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that they could do without bringing water in.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Anything outside of that, they would have to bring water in. But storage units would not require water unless, it had a caretaker facility there or an office or something like that where they would need restrooms. But if it was just the storage units, then they would not. So everything else is there. They have power, gas, communications, and everything is along there. I think there's really, it's pretty straightforward.
Very good. Chair declares the public hearing open on number 1. Seeing none, public hearing closed.
The feasibility, we review each time. These are the things that the Planning Commission considered and the staff has reviewed and evaluated in terms of feasibility. Again, as we look at property to rezone, it's a legislative decision. You have a lot of discretion in that on what you believe is in the best interest of the public. And so it has the ability to provide the infrastructure that it needs and would have to do that depending on what type of project it is, but this is just a rezone at this point. And the Planning Commission recommended approval.
No
No conditions.
conditions
no
or additional
provisions.
findings,
Yeah,
provisions?
straight up.
I would move for approval of the proposed zone change from agriculture 20 acres to commercial for approximately 0.99 acres within the legal description as listed in the agenda. Located at approximately 3100 South Old Highway 91 between I-15 and Old Highway 91 south of Hamilton Fort.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 The next property is the property that is just a little bit further south. It's right in the corner of Rainbow Rancho subdivision right here, where that subdivision is adjacent to Old Highway 91, runs right along this side. It's a little triangular piece that's left out of what would square that property up. And so this is also zoned A20 currently. Their desire is to rezone that to commercial, and this is where the neighbors were most concerned. They recognized that it really wasn't a good prospect for residential use, but they just didn't want commercial use there either because they were concerned about the amount of traffic that there is in that area on that little intersection. This little road that comes, there's a road that runs along the south side of the property right here, which is I think it's 3100 south. And then this property, or 3400, I believe is what that is. And then 3200 runs along the north side of this subdivision. But they have an entrance to the subdivision right here. And that's quite a busy little intersection. It comes off on an angle. It's not very square as it comes out. And so it has some challenges for them coming off of that. And the Paiute tribe property and the housing is down here, and a lot of that traffic comes in and out of this road as well. And so that was the concern of the neighborhood, was just the traffic. You can see the zoning here, R1/2 adjacent to the A20 that's there. And there is more commercial down here that we had most recently rezoned and done some other work on some of this property down here for the intersection. But their desire is, and you can see this is overlaid with the Paiute tribal land. So this is the tribal land that wraps around this. It just leaves that little corner piece right there. It's 1.16 acres. They have pretty much the same situation in terms of the city's future land use plan. They call for the commercial use, highway regional commercial, everything adjacent to that on the south side. And so we felt like that also was a good use of this property, probably the most likely and best use of that property. So the Planning Commission recommended approval as well. They have the same infrastructure issues, even though they're a little closer to the Paiute tribe infrastructure. And some of the property in the past went further south. The Paiute tribe extended their waters down for commercial use of property down there. And so I think there's an option for that as well in this property.
When I went to planning and zoning and the people's concerns, the truckers, I wonder is there something that can be done about the truckers are parking all down those roads, and it's quite an issue. I mean, they have other properties. Could they make a parking lot for, I mean, I don't know that
That's
we
something
have
that,
any.
yeah, that we could talk to the sheriff and the road department about in terms of monitoring trucks on that road. It does narrow it down when they park along the side there, and we could take some kind of action along that. We don't have a parking along the side of that road, and we could ask the Paiute tribe to evaluate that. They're working on an expansion to the truck stop, their station there, and they're putting a new big awning and extending the other one for trucks. I don't know that
Do
that'll
they have property?
I don't know
they
that that'll
could make
provide a place
trucking
for them to
park?
stay overnight and park, but it's just that they are providing more service for those. So it may make the situation worse, by
Yeah.
inviting more trucks
I wonder
there. So,
how we need to address that. We may.
yeah, I think that's a conversation that we could have with them. And Paul Terry has been really good to work with over there, and is kind of the project supervisor and is the CEO of their business portion.
Is that something
And
you'd
we
feel
could-
comfortable
We could
about?
definitely contact him and
Yeah.
feel good about seeing, express our concerns about that. I think-
Richard.
So I just opened my mail this morning, and we have from them a request for an encroachment permit because of that expansion they're doing. They want to pave across from their facilities now. In fact, they want to pave both,
And the interstate.
And
The-
that would be great.
and as well on the west side of 91, between their facilities and 91, and so that there will be some truck parking there and ability to turn in and out.
That would be wonderful. I think
But
that
I
was a
get what you're
huge
saying,
problem
that we
there
would
with
be-
the residents.
And it would be nice to have a dedicate, if they're gonna expand like Love's did in, north of here. They built a large parking lot for overnight parking as well.
Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
do have some property, on the east side of the housing between their, I don't know what map shows it best, but, on the east side of their housing right in here, they do have some room for some parking, and if they pave on this side, that would help.
Maybe Jane's would consider a trade so that's closer to the truck stop would, you know what I'm saying? A trade on that commercial property.
Once it's zoned that way, yes. Anyway, just
Yeah.
wanted to make you aware that they have given me the application, and that's what their plan was. And they're gonna pave like 250 feet on both sides of 91 to
Oh,
provide
that's-
to get the trucks out of the road.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, I
beneficial
think we would
for
wanna
sure.
to maybe be careful about just paving from the asphalt on out, because we really need an entrance where they're going into the property. I don't think having that whole thing open along both sides would be good.
That probably wouldn't be
Need a borrow
an
ditch and
entrance.
separation, and we'd want to keep them outside of the right-of-way. So I think we'd want to review that and consider that. But anyway, regarding this zone change, those were the issues from the Planning Commission, and they did recommend approval and thought that would be the best use of this property. The 1.16 acres is the entire property, and the old Highway 91 comes out of that. And so it's actually a little less for usable space, but there is enough there to do a small shop or do something there that I think
Storage
would be,
units would be a
or
good alternative.
to
yeah.
give them some leverage based on the zoning to do a trade or to negotiate with the
Yeah.
tribe to do something with
Yeah,
it.
that would be really good. Okay, on agenda item number 2, the chair declares the public hearing open. Any comments? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing.
Again, the considerations that were given are very similar to the previous application, and it complies with the considerations and evaluation. So in the findings, we could determine that it is feasible to provide the services necessary for commercial uses.
We have a motion on that one.
I will go ahead and move to approve the proposed zone change from agriculture, the 20 acres, A20, to commercial for approximately 1.16 acres within the legal description outlined in the agenda, located approximately 3586 South, Old Highway 91, between I-15 and Old Highway 91, south of Hamilton Fort, Cedar City, Utah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Move on to number 3.
May I just ask for consideration on the previous item? When we approved that, it was for just the .99 acres. And I didn't know what your thoughts were in just filling in between the other zoning with the Paiute tribal
I think
property.
it makes sense. Can we do that now? Or
Yeah.
does it have to be on the agenda?
It was on the agenda for the zone change,
Oh.
but that area
For that
is
piece
what
in
we're
between?
rezoning. Yeah.
Well, I
It
can
just-
revise my motion.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and revise my motion to include that strip that you've outlined in your remarks that the Paiute tribe owns,
Okay.
to keep that
A20.
contiguous,
Yeah.
right?
To
Okay.
have a continuous commercial zone through there.
That's a great
And I
idea.
would second that as well.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't mention that
That's
before.
good. I thought we had to come back later for that. That's good.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll have a public hearing and discussion of possible approval of the proposed preliminary plat, the parks at Deer Hollow Phase 2B, subdivision 30 lots, approximately 8.09 acres. And that is located 1700 West Mid-Valley Road.
This application, you're familiar with the location immediately in the northwest corner of the entire property. You'll recall that we did have a master plan for this community. Let me just scroll down to that. This was the Parks at Deer Hollow master plan for the entire property. This phase is located up in this corner right here, up in this northwest corner of the property. We have had a couple of versions of this, and I'll just talk about briefly the layout of the subdivision is the same as what was proposed at Planning Commission, but the applicant has revised a little bit of the layout from the Planning Commission meeting based on the input from the Planning Commission meeting and the neighbors in that area. The proposal previously was that the lots along the front right here be 12 townhome lots, which were in conformance with the ordinance under the new ordinance that we just did for townhomes. And they had 12 lots there. They were going to do 3 buildings of 4 units each and try to make them look like large homes, and I think had a really good plan. The neighbors didn't think that they had a very good plan and didn't think that it was really going to be conducive to their neighborhood. And the applicant taking that into consideration, and Brandon Hunter representing the developers is here today also to answer any questions. So they have revised their application, and let me go back here to the So what they have now is they have 5 single-family residential lots along here. The rest all stays the same. They've got the alley that comes in off of the entrance right here, the same as it was. It'll come out through here, which will match what's going on the other side right here, the alley that goes through. These houses will face the Mid-Valley Road, but they won't have access off of Mid-Valley. They'll have to have their access off of the back through the alley on this side. And so it'll look the same as what's going on down between the elementary school and here. It'll be all the same. Their hope was to try this new ordinance with the townhouse lots, and I think they'll just have to wait until they move over behind the elementary school to put the townhouse lots in. And I think the neighbors would be more aware then of how that's going to be built out, and so I don't think they'll meet the resistance that was there, that they had the other night at the Planning Commission meeting. So that's the proposal. We can make that kind of a change from the Planning Commission to the County Commission because this is preliminary plat. When we approve the preliminary plat, then of course we would have to have the final plat come back exactly the same, and we can't make changes at that point, but we can make changes and revisions from what the Planning Commission recommended to what the County Commission will approve. And then that's what we'll go forward with. In terms of the construction drawings and getting the bonding and everything for the improvements, and then the final plat would be in conformance with that. So that's the desire of the applicant. We were excited to get our first townhome lots and thinking that it was going to be great, but apparently the timing just wasn't right now for the neighbors and for that project, so.
The good thing about that is they did talk about it going over by the school, and they acted like they were fine with that.
Yeah,
So
this is the area that
that's
we
really
identified,
nice.
that the applicant
I mean,
had identified that
that's gonna
probably
help
made
you
more sense.
on the next process, yeah.
Yeah, over here, just further to the east and behind the elementary school is where they were looking at going with the
They
next
also had a
house
concern
units.
about the one-way street. Are you going to do that then? Oh, great, yeah. I bet that will really help with congestion.
Yeah, as you look
Those
at the
little-
project further on the earlier phase that was built, the road, these small alleys that are in the back right here are not currently one way, and you can come in either direction, but they're only wide enough for one vehicle, and so some of the neighbors had expressed concern about that. The difference is that I don't know whether, they'll have to look at that and whether their access is all going to be on both sides or whether they'll take front access, because they wouldn't need to use that alley for rear entrance. They can have front entrance off of this. These homes do use the alley for rear entrance, and so you've got double row of homes that are using that. And I don't know if that'll be the same over here. Are they going to do entrance off the alley on both sides, entrance, or just the north?
On the new
Is this
subdivision.
alley right here going to provide access to the lots on the south as well as the north? Okay. And so the idea was that this would be a one-way in right here and a one-way street, so that they wouldn't have the congestion in that area. But these are private roads in the alleys that are smaller than what the county subdivision standards are. So they have the ability to do that themselves.
So then there will be open space on the west side.
There is open
also.
space still along the west side. This
That
leaves the
That was another one of their concerns, and so that's
yeah,
nice that
this
they'll
open
have
space
that.
is still here.
It's like a grassy area
Yep.
there.
Otherwise, the subdivision meets all of the standards. This is a performance subdivision. The performance subdivision standards here out of the ordinance for how large they are and what the widths are on the streets and the setbacks and everything, it is in conformance with that. So they have water from the Conservancy District. This is part of the ongoing project. They have sewer, meets the performance subdivision ordinance. Because of the points that they got in that subdivision, allows up to 4 units per acre, and so we're higher at 23 units than what we would typically allow in R1 half, because we've got 23 units on 8 acres, but they're smaller because of the performance subdivision, and they're in compliance with that. So I think everything else is fine
Okay.
in terms of the ordinance.
Chair declares the public hearing open on agenda item number 3. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Turn it back to Reed.
The preliminary subdivision plat approval is laid out here in ordinance has been recommended by the Planning Commission. They have not recommended any additional on-site or off-site improvements, and it's conformance with the ordinance and has all of the provisions required by ordinance.
Okay. We have a motion.
We do need a public hearing. I don't know. Oh, we did have that.
we
Sorry.
did. Yep.
You're right. Okay.
I'll move to approve the proposed preliminary plat, the Parks at Deer Hollow Phase 2B subdivision, 30 lots, approximately 8.09 acres, within the legal description as shown on the agenda, located near 1700 West Mid-Valley Road in the Cedar City area.
So there are actually 23 lots after the revision, so
Okay.
let's make that
Okay.
clarification.
Okay.
We had 30 before, and that's why my slides still say 30, but I did cross it out here. There are 23
Okay.
lots with the reduction of the townhouse lots into 5 single-family lots.
So include that in the motion, that
Motion,
we're actually talking
23.
about 23 lots, and note that there are no variations.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we will go to number 4, public hearing, discussion and possible approval of a proposed zone ordinance amendment Ordinance 2022-3, Iron County Code, Section 17.40.020, construction and flood channels.
You'll recognize this graphic. This was what was recently adopted in terms of our new flood channel width. As a result of that, our old ordinance previously stated that when we had a flood channel, you could have no building or structure within 100 feet of the banks of the flood channel. And so when we adopted the new provisions, we didn't correct this old ordinance and change that. And so now, since that's in conflict, we're just coming back and cleaning that up. And this is simply stating that the setbacks will now be in conformance with the flood channel setback standards approved by resolution, which are these. And as you can see by the graphic, it has different widths of setback depending on what section of channel it is and what the capacity of that channel is. And so Rich has done a lot of work here, and we appreciate the a response to try to address it appropriately in terms of what we really need, instead of having such a blanket statement of 100 feet from the flood channel when the width doesn't warrant, the amount of water that was in there doesn't warrant that much of a setback. We have that much of a setback in some cases if it's necessary, but we don't have it in smaller channels that don't have that kind of capacity. So this is a much better response to what we need to take care of the flood channels.
Yeah, I really appreciate the work you guys have done on this, Rich and Reed. That's from the flooding last year. We did need to update what we've got, so that's really.
And we have been coordinating with the other municipalities as well, and have given those all of those channels and have asked them to consider those and adopt those as well for those portions that run within the cities. So we're hoping that they'll be responsive.
Well, this is a perfect example of our general plan or master plan and how it's a living document. It changes, and we're updating it right now.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Really. Okay. Call for a motion.
I will move to.
We need a public hearing.
Oh, yes.
Public hearing, yes. Chair declares the public hearing open on the agenda number 4. Seeing none, public hearing closed. Okay.
Ready? Okay, I'll go ahead and move to approve the proposed zoning ordinance amendment regarding the code section 17.40.020 in regards to the construction and flood channels.
Could you also just state the number of the ordinance 2022-3?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ordinance 2022-3. Sorry, I missed that.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. We'll go on to number 5. Discussion and possible approval of managing public defender. Oh.
Hey, Reed.
Are you doing that?
Hey, Reed, can I ask you a question just really quickly?
Oh.
Talking with Terry in the break, he said that he and you had a conversation last Friday-ish about something that you ought to give the commission maybe a heads up.
Yeah.
But he couldn't remember what that was.
What that was.
I didn't know if it was appropriate to mention now. Or
I certainly can, and would ask for maybe that we could have a discussion. I don't know when your meeting will conclude today, and if we can just take a minute and discuss that. It was related to the proposal for the new Rittermark incorporation, the creation of the town. The county has been asked to review eligibility for some of the people who have asked to be taken out of that. And we have like 30 of them, and it's going to take quite a bit of time to go through and do what the Lieutenant Governor's office has asked us to do in reviewing those, and I'm not sure why that would be our responsibility. I wanted to just have a little discussion with you about generally how you feel that would affect us as a county having that done, and the way that the boundaries have been drawn, and just wanted to see whether the county felt like they wanted to have input to the Lieutenant Governor's office in consideration of that incorporation. And so that's what we were going to talk about, and wondered if maybe we had some time today that we could have a brief discussion about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. And we'll turn the time over to Jan about the proposed zoning. Oh, no. The defender, public defender.
Yes, thank you. I'll be covering for Shane and Candace, who was called into court this morning. I first want to thank Shane for his service as the managing public defender. I wish him all the best of luck, and he's done great for the county, so I appreciate that. We conducted interviews for the grant-funded managing public defender last month. Candace Reed was selected by the committee to take over as the contracted managing public defender effective July 1st, 2022. Her contract is 99% grant funded. The county's going to cover $3,000 of that, so not too bad. Interviews were conducted last week for the open contracted public defender positions. Clifford Gravette was selected for the 2-year public defender contract, and Peter Stack was selected for the grant funded 1-year public defender contract, and their pending start dates are either going to be July 1st or August 1st. We're kind of working that out right now.
Could you spell Clifford's last name for me?
Yes, you bet. Gravett.
Thank you.
You bet. And then Sam is going over the contract right now for Candace's position, and we'll have the 2 contracts ready for the other 2 as well.
I did review Candace's contract. It appears to be good for the understanding both on the contract that we've had in the past and to address some of the concerns we've had going forward. So it should be good to sign if you approve it.
Okay.
Perfect. And that's it.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move to approve the managing public defender position, 2-year public defender position, and the 1-year grant funded public defender position contracts effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jen. She'll be back in a few minutes. Now we will go to number 6, which is public comments. 3-minute public comments per speaker. Shouldn't repeat others' comments, only for items not on the agenda. No items related to Commissioner's role of appeals board, and comments should be directed to the commission, no attacks on others' character. And state your name. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Volney Morin. Before I launch into my comments, I would like to first make a disclaimer. You know that I am the chairman of the Republican Party for Iron County, but my visit with you today has not been sanctioned or authorized by the County Executive Committee or the County Central Committee. So I'm appearing before you as an individual and not in any other capacity. By way of context, I was thinking just a little over 52 years ago, I took an oath along with millions of other military and first responder personnel to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And my concerns regarding that oath prompted me to reflect on the action taken last Saturday by President Biden. And so I would like to present to you a proposed resolution that I would like you to consider, modify any way you wish, or if you deem it appropriate, put it in the wastebasket and move on. But I feel it important to do my part to defend my oath and honor my oath to defend the Constitution. So here we go. Whereas the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land, Article 6. Whereas Amendment 2 of the Constitution provides, quote, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, close quote. Whereas Amendment 14 of the Constitution provides, quote, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law, close quote. Whereas S S2938, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, signed into law on 25 June 2022 by President Biden, was approved by Utah Senator Mitt Romney in the Senate vote, whereas S2938 of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act infringes on the right of the people to keep and bear arms, whereas S2938, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, abridges the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States and deprives any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, and denies to all persons within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. The bill contains red flag laws, also known as, quote, extreme risk protection order programs, close quote. Under these provisions, a gun owner may have his weapon confiscated without an opportunity to present his or her case before a court. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that Utah Senator Mitt Romney is hereby censured by the Iron County Board of Commissioners for supporting S2938, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. 2, that the Iron County Board of Commissioners shall convene at the earliest date possible the Iron County Constitutional Defense Committee, consisting of the 3 Iron County Commissioners, the Iron County Sheriff, and the Iron County Attorney, to determine the enforceability of S2938, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, in Iron County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to 7, discussion and possible approval of right-of-way easement from Iron County to Appaloosa Solar One LLC for an overhead power line across Lund Highway associated with Appaloosa Solar One utility scale power plant. Reed, back to
Thank you. This is a vicinity map showing the location out on Lund Highway across the street from the current Three Peaks Solar located at this location. This is a little layout of what the new Appaloosa Solar is going to do. So here's where the old one is, and this shows the build out of the new one, kind of wrapping around the north, east and west sides of the previous development. And they'll have a new substation built in this location and then come across there in this power corridor that already exists that kind of takes it around and then down to the Three Peaks substation right here. So this is where the actual crossing is. We had generally, and through an encroachment permit, Rich can speak to this as well. I'm simply asked by the applicant to get this on the agenda and get it approved. And since Rich was gone last week, I just requested this on the agenda, but it really was a request through Rich's office. And you have a copy of the document. We typically could handle this through our encroachment permit, and there was an encroachment permit granted for this. It's for their financing and their funding, and for the operation, they need something in writing and approved that states that they have an easement so that it's not going to go away in the future. So it's pretty straightforward. I don't see any concerns with it, and would recommend approval, and Rich can add anything he wants.
Exactly. It's in the same location. They aren't expanding what they already have. It is only to satisfy their investors that they will not lose this right to cross Lund Highway.
Lund Highway, okay. All right.
It's an
Anything?
overhead, by the way, not a underground. Yeah.
So we don't need a public hearing or anything like that. We'll just take the chair calls for a motion.
Okay, I'll move to approve the right-of-way easement from Iron County to Appaloosa Solar One LLC for an overhead power line across Lund Highway associated with the Appaloosa Solar One utility scale power plant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go on to 8, discussion and possible approval for a utility easement from Iron County to Periwin City for a water line near a gravel pit near 300 East Periwin, south side of the road.
I'll let Rich explain this. I just simply put the map on my presentation so that I could show you the location.
Okay.
You can see here where the fairgrounds are down on this side. This is the old county gravel pit that still gets used from time to time. This is 300 East right here. And so the easement would run from 300 East. I'll get a little bigger map here. From 300 East on the south side of this old, really just a
Two-track
road.
road.
Yeah.
It's not great, yeah.
To this property right here. This is the property that is developing, and they want to get on city. It's in the city, and they want to run a water line down this side.
Correct. So I've talked to the owner as of last year, and the Periwin city to run water needs to have a utility easement. I didn't see any problems with that. We discussed that with the city of Periwin, that we would run it on the south side as far away from our open gravel pit as possible. The water line will be in the roadway. It will not be on the side. It'll be in the normal place we put water lines where we can access them. And it's all being financed and paid for by the landowner. They actually created the documentation for easement. I believe as part of this, we are also wanting to be, and I don't know that I included it, and I apologize for that, but there's actually two easement documents. One is granted to the city of Periwin. The other is granted to us from the landowner because they need a fire hydrant. And so they're going to attach the fire hydrants on the, which will not be in the 15-foot public right-of-way. But we do have the language for both easements. One is granted from the property owner to us for the fire hydrant. The other is granted to the city of Periwin.
Where's the fire hydrant going to be located? Or do you know?
On this map, it's up here on this corner. So
Between the two lots?
yes, right up there.
Okay.
Yep.
Which we own. The county owns that long skinny one also, right?
We have,
Right there
yeah.
to the north.
Well, you can see we own all this property.
Yep.
And of
up
course,
into that other part.
I think, and we have, it's a county road by use.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
We have the documents, and I sent them to the recorder's office, both easements, I think.
Okay.
And so, I apologize that that's not on there.
Okay. Very good. We'll call for a motion.
I'll move to approve utility easement from Iron County to Periwin City for a water line near a gravel pit near 300 East. In Periwin on the south side of the road, described by its legal description in the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We've got Stephanie here. Do you want to be moved up?
No, we need her last.
Oh, you need her very last?
She's last by design.
Oh, okay. Fine. I just thought I was going to get her moved down. Okay. Very good.
May I just interrupt
Yep.
and ask if it's your desire to discuss that other matter later?
Yes.
Do you know about what time that would be?
do that.
We've got another meeting at 2, but I think we'll be fine.
To do
in
it
between.
between after lunch, between that and 2, like 1:30?
Well, we
do
got
you
to be
wanna
back
do
to
it?
Cedar by 2. We got
Oh,
a
in
meeting at 2
Cedar. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Meetings in Cedar.
We could do
So-
it in Cedar.
You want to do it at my office? Where are you meeting? Where's
Or-
your other meeting?
At the
in
visitor
Cedar?
center.
At the
2.
visitor center.
I come over there at 1:30 before.
I don't know how long that meeting's gonna last.
Are you talking Ritter, Mark?
Yeah.
It's
You want to do
start-
it before your meeting at 2?
Or we could
meet
come
there.
over to your, after that meeting.
Yeah, that's just
It's
fine
like
too.
a,
Okay.
yeah. Would that work?
Yeah, that'd be just
We'll
great.
just come over to your,
Okay.
Office.
I mean, I would like to be involved in that meeting, but it may not be feasible today, so it's okay. I don't have to be.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, we can discuss it and then I'll get with you and we
That's fine.
can go over it. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thanks. Yep. Okay, we'll move on to number 9, discussion and possible approval of Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant for Cedar Mountain Winter Recreation Parking Project on Highway 14. Mike Worthen.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a follow-up on a grant application that we submitted a couple of months ago to build 2 parking lots on SR 14 right at the where the road goes from Iron County over into Kane County, just this side of Navajo. And what it is the west side of that Deer Hollow area is non-motorized. It's for snowshoers and Nordic ski area. And then the east side and the north side is open to snowmobile. The snowmobilers usually park up at the UDOT parking lot on right where the Cedar Breaks Road takes off of SR 14.
Yes, we do.
And there's a huge congestion area there on weekends, and even so where UDOT has a hard time getting their equipment in and out. So this has been kind of in the plans for a few years, and we've got a lot of people together, a lot of groups and whatnot to make this happen. And we are applying for a grant. Iron County is the grantee, and where we would manage the funds that come into this because the federal government cannot apply for the state grant. So I agreed to apply for it, and it's a culmination of a number of groups. It is with Kane County, UDOT, Tread Lightly, which is a group that kind of monitors the trails and helps conserve and upgrade and whatever else. Utah Division of Parks and Recreation, the Cedar Mountain Nordic Trail, Nordic Ski Club, and the Dixie National Forest. This will will provide deceleration lanes for safety of visitors at Deer Hollow Recreation Area, and that area is called the Deer Hollow Recreation Area by the Forest Service. It would be paving the Deer Hollow Recreation parking lot and ease overload of parking lot at the UDOT and SR 14 and 148 junction, and provide a safety location designated for trucks and trailers to safely offload their machines and not be part of traffic problems. So the funding for this, as I mentioned, has come from a number of sources. Iron County's portion of that, Maria agreed, I think last year, to kick in $50,000 from Tourism Bureau. And then we have an in-kind where we would assist by supplying some equipment and operator power to help construct that parking area, put in gravel, haul gravel, whatever else. Kane County is about the same. They are doing 53,000 in-kind parking, the same as Iron County. So that is the basis of the contract or the grant that we've applied for. We've applied for it. We have received the contract for signature, and that's what we're here today, is to approve that contract and sign it.
Very good. No restroom there, though, huh?
Yes, there will be a
there will be.
restroom.
Oh, you didn't mention that. I wondered.
No, I didn't
figured.
mention it, but there will be a restroom.
And they will
Yes.
pave that this year?
Yes. Well, they'll start this year. It'll be completed by 2023.
So we won't do
October.
the asphalt. Is there?
No,
there'll
that
be.
would be
It'll just be helping with the gravel and
preparation of
preparation and
yep,
that sort of
getting
thing.
it where it can be asphalted.
Oh, good. Good. Okay, I guess we can have a motion.
Is this my turn?
Yep, your turn.
I move to approve the Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant from Cedar Mountain Winter Recreation Parking Project on Highway 14, as presented by Mike Worthen.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Do you want?
John, do you have the copy of that?
Okay, I'll I'll get
Yep.
that signed.
Okay, and then I'll come over and pick it up so I can get it back to the state.
In fact, I'll bring it to you this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, just leave it on my desk because I'll be up at 5 Mile.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Okay. Let's go to number 10. Discussion and possible approval of mid-year modification to mileage reimbursement. Dan, Jessen, and I
He will
do.
be walking in the door momentarily. He's been watching online, so.
Oh. Dan. We could go on to the next one.
Well.
Well, she's not here either.
Marilee's on deck. I just texted her.
Okay.
Oh. All right.
You get a text?
He wants to
Does he want
participate
us to push?
telephonically.
Here we go.
Oh.
12.
Yeah, hang on.
Hello.
Hey. All right. Needless to say, you're on speakerphone.
Okay, good. I was just listening to Mike Worthing talk about his thing on YouTube.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, you ready for me then?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Hey, so I think you have to be living under a rock and or be Amish to not be aware of what's going on with gas prices. We've been considering taking a look at the county mileage rate reimbursements as they were designed really before gas prices jumped to the extent that they have. It's rare to consider anything like this mid-year, but we were looking at it, and then what is unprecedented as far as I know, I mean, I don't know if it's ever happened, but the IRS actually updated their mileage rate and increased it by 4 cents across the board on their different mileage rates. The main mileage rate that we look at is their reimbursement rate, and they jumped that up to 62.5 cents, and which is a 4 cent increase on their mileage rate. The mileage rate of ours that really has been the most problematic has been the lower rate if somebody chooses to drive their own vehicle when a county vehicle is available. That has been 25 cents, which was set earlier this year. That doesn't even cover fuel unless you drive the most absolute economic vehicle there is, but just the average vehicle, it doesn't even cover fuel costs. So what I wanted to present to the commission for consideration would be to update the mileage rate for the higher rate to match the IRS is what we typically peg that to, for a 4 cent increase, and then also just the same 4 cent increase on the lower rate as well, from 25 cents up to 29 cents.
So 62.5 and then 29? Is that
Yep,
correct?
62.5 and 29. If there's any questions or discussion, or tell me to go bite the wall, but that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well, any comments on that? I know that's a problem. We understand that it's
Well, I think it's
Had
important that we,
employees asking for some sort of adjustment there that have been, you know, we
Relief.
don't have a lot to get the reimbursement, but it does happen. And
I think it's important that we stay tied to that entity, that it, you know, it's not just shot in the dark, that, you know, that it's a defensible request because it's tied to.
Can we go back down, Dan, after, in case it ever changes?
yeah, well, I mean, we did the year before the IRS rate dropped, and we dropped it. So, I mean, let's hope that becomes the case again. That I saw an interesting meme the other day that if you've ever seen the zombie apocalypse movie I Am Legend, there's a famous shot where they have a gas station that's all boarded up and the prices. And it was funny when the movie was made because they seemed so high, but we've now exceeded that price
Wow.
in a lot of states. So I guess that's one of the signs of the times.
Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and call for a motion.
All right, I would move to approve a mid-year modification to the mileage reimbursement, being an additional 4-cent increase to both personal use vehicles when there is a county vehicle available, as well as personal use vehicle when there's not a county use vehicle available. The first being from 25 to 29 cents, the second being up to 62.5 cents per mile.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Dan?
motion carries.
Yeah.
Could you stay on the line? I'd like Dan to kind of lay the foundation for the next item.
Okay. Okay, review of Iron County fee schedules.
Okay, so I've asked Marilee to come and speak to this, but Dan, do you want to give some background on this since I've got you on the line?
Yeah. So, and I mentioned this a little bit in my quarterly report last commission meeting. When the external auditors, Kimball and Roberts were here, they will be issuing a finding on our upcoming audit report that we'll present in July. Basically, we have fee schedules. Each individual department has their own fees, but we just didn't have aggregated into one place the county fee schedule that is a document that's reviewed annually by this body and approved, and of course then we have to analyze those fees to make sure that they're reasonable and appropriate and pay for the thing that you're getting, whether it's a regulatory fee or a service fee or whatnot. And so, there's been a little bit of confusion. I think if you had a combined clerk auditor, it would clearly be the clerk auditor's job. It's not like it's anywhere that this is the job of any specific department, but it is something that needs to be reviewed annually. It needs to be recorded in some place, which the clerk will record and keep a copy of that. But John and Marilee have graciously taken it on, the job of reaching out to all the departments and really coalescing all of their current fees as they are set right now into one document that can be reviewed annually and approved by the commission. We can make that available on our website. We can make it available for the public so that the public knows what our fees are, so that it kind of just sets them a little bit more in stone, at least year by year. My office will look and we'll start this. I know that the state auditor is a big push that they're gonna want us to essentially show how these fees were created. They want something more than just this is what we've always done, or this is what Beaver County and Washington County do. They want us to see that we've done some analysis and we have some logical and mathematical backup for where these fees came from. So I appreciate John and Marilee, like I said, putting this together. Marilee's done the lion's share of the work. And moving forward, I will need to reach out to different departments. We'll start with the more significant ones and do a little bit of a study and come up with some justification for these fees. And what I think I would like to see is that we put it on the calendar, just like we look at the mileage rate every year, we look at per diem rates every year. We review the fee schedule and possibly make changes. Now, there may be cases where we're charging a little too much. There may be cases we're charging a little too little, and we need to adjust those, on an annual basis. But that's basically the Reader's Digest version, John.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the genesis of this happened a few years ago. Some of the larger counties have been working toward this for longer. Some of the smaller counties have not. This is something that is probably best practice, and at this point will be mandated by our external auditor and the state auditor. And so Marilee can tell us what she's done.
Dan pretty much said
Very
it all.
good.
So back, I don't know, it's been probably a year and a half ago, John asked me to contact other counties and get their fee schedules and do comparisons. And I worked on it, and I have a big old document here. But in the process of it, I discovered that we don't charge things the same way other counties do, or vice versa. It's not cut and dry. And it just became very, very long. And so I think Dan's part of it, where he's saying all these need to be reviewed to see what our costs are, and all of that is really the correct answer. So in the process recently, I just reached out to the departments. I also used the information I'm sure Justin helped put online per department of the fees that were already being charged. And there were a couple departments that didn't have any on there. But so I reached out, I got all their information, sent it back again, got the draft. So this is more current than the email that you received the other day. And if you'll notice on the very bottom of the back page, there are some that don't charge fees. So whether they should or not, I have no clue, but they're not. So I just wanted to throw those out there in case you wanted to check into any of
Could
that.
we charge for?
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't charge for anything.
So anyway, that's where we're at currently. That's just what the departments are currently doing.
When I get a complaint.
You can charge for it.
That would be
Like,
nice.
it's like Lucy off Peanuts, right?
Yeah.
Complaint department.
5 cents. Anyway, so that's what this is, and it's as current as I have right now. And then, yeah, it needs to go to Dan and the departments to be reviewed. And then it will need to be put on our website as one document. Some of the things on there are mandated by the state. We have no control over changing those. I tried to mark those if I was made aware of them.
Things like recording fees.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but there was just concern that it didn't override anything on their particular sections of our website. So we just have to make sure that those are always in sync, so there's not question. So if anything changes on their website, it needs to change on our fee schedule. But it sounds to me like it has to be approved every year, so I don't know how that will affect the departments.
And I think
making
the first one will
changes.
be a bit of a heavy lift, and then after that, it'll just be refining things as new information comes. And like Dan suggests, we maybe have an annual review of it, just like we do with reimbursement rates or mileage.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. Any questions?
John?
Oh, let me put you back on. This is Dan. Go ahead.
So one thing I wanted to say, and I think this is important as we talk about this from a principled standpoint. It's important that our fees fully capture our costs. Sometimes as a deliberative body, the legislative body, as the council or the commission wants to make something affordable, and we want to make things reasonable so that it's easy for our citizens to use. Something that is a voluntary thing, like an elective thing, we need to make sure that the fees capture the cost of doing it, because otherwise we're subsidizing a service. Everybody is subsidizing a service that only certain people are choosing to use, and that's not really fair to the entire electorate to subsidize that with a tax. So, for example, if you have a recreation fee, sometimes we want to keep recreation fees down, but if only 10% of the population ever chooses to use a specific thing, and it's totally voluntary, then it's not very fair if we subsidize that too much, or even at all, if you want to be perfectly principled. Those that use a service pay the cost of doing it, and that's really kind of the whole point behind this. This is why the state auditor is a big proponent of this. For example, at higher education, he says, how can you charge a college, somebody who's going to college, a fee for sports if they are just in the education program and they don't consume any football, they're not in a football program, they receive no benefit from it? How can you charge every single student that signs up this sports fee? That's a tax. That's not a fee. If you want to call it a sports tax, then fine, it's a tax, and then everybody is taxed. But fees should pay for what they are, especially if they're voluntary. And so, anyways, that's just kind of an overall principle we got to kind of keep in mind as we talk about these things. The fee needs to cover the cost of doing it, especially if it's elective or voluntary. So, anyways, I just wanted to wax philosophical for a second there.
Okay.
So I think today is kind of a kicking off point. There's not a lot to. I don't think there's anything to finalize today. other than to kind of show this to the commissioners and maybe if there is any discussion, but that was kind of the point. And I just want to really say thank you to Marilee. She's done the yeoman's work on this, and
It sounds like it was a lot of work.
Yeah,
we appreciate
everybody
that.
was helpful.
yeah, she's done a good job coordinating with the different departments and at least assembling where we are.
Well, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Let's move on to 12. Resolution 2022-4, a resolution of the county legislative body of Iron County notifying Periwin City that the county legislative body is not seeking to impose a tax upon code 59-12-70 subsection.
Yes.
Sir, who are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is, Periwin City started the RAP tax process last year, say that 10 times fast, and didn't actually get it completed. And so there was some question between their attorney, Justin Wayman, and myself as to whether or not the process had to be restarted, and we thought for safety's sake, we just restarted it. So they did their resolution last Thursday. This is the same resolution, but with rolled dates that Iron County, the commissioners did last year. Now it's important to note that this is basically saying we, the Iron County Commission, are not going to pursue a RAP tax. It's also important to note that there are already other towns and cities that already are using a RAP tax, so it'd be a little weird if we tried to. And I don't know whether the commission's feelings have changed on that, but I knew that paradigm hadn't changed. And so I said, well, we're just going to move this forward and put it before the commissioners.
Okay.
Help me understand this. So you generally a RAP tax is initiated by the municipality.
Yes.
Right? So why are we involved at all?
The only thing we're saying is this resolution, just like the one we did last year, says we are not interested in pursuing, let's see, what's the word? The county legislative body is not seeking to impose a tax under Utah Code 59-12-701.
I guess we could go in with.
Yeah, so there is
also?
an option if the county wanted to pursue a RAP tax to do that, you know. And it gets a little tricky because of how the tax is able to be used. Do we have, I mean, we could try and put money into like the Heritage Theater or like the Burrell Community Center, you know, those kind of things. But that's, so far the commissioners have opted to not do that and to set forth these resolutions. This is this exact same resolution that was done last year, but we've just rolled the dates forward.
They
and again,
they just didn't get it done because of the election and everything. Yeah.
They didn't get it across the finish line, and then their attorney and I, we weren't sure whether or not it had to be done, so just out of caution, we moved
Went
it
ahead
forward.
to do that. Okay.
So this basically saying
we'll
that
need
we don't want to be involved.
Yeah, we're not. We, the Iron County, are not going to pursue a RAP tax of our own.
Okay.
So
That's just one of the
we
requirements
need
that the city has to
we
have
need
to
a
do that.
motion then.
So
And it's Resolution 22.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-4, a resolution of the county legislative body of Iron County notifying Periwin City that the county legislative body is not seeking to impose a tax under Code 59-12-70.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. We'll go to 13, Resolution 2022-5, adopting the Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan. That is George Colson, our illustrious emergency manager.
I've been called a lot of things. Illustrious is generally not one of them.
Are those fighting words, George?
Well, and I was interested, Dan mentioned the movie I Am Legend. Is it the commission's wish that I start preparing for a zombie apocalypse? I'll get right on that.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
So every 5 years, the 5-county Association of Governments is required to forward a report to FEMA of mitigation strategies of the counties within their jurisdiction. And this is the one that covers 2022 to 2027. and it's they've got a person who's constantly working on this. They go out to the community. They've talked to communities in Iron County. They've also Reed and Rich and I and Bruce met with them to go over mitigation strategies and things that Iron County was doing. And the plan is finished. I sent John a copy. I'm sure you've got a copy. The relevant to us pages are, because it's about 1,300 pages long.
Huge.
So the relevant pages are 369 to 505, and that covers Iron County. So when you formally adopt this, and I get the adoption paperwork back, I present that. I forward that on to the 5 counties. They forward it on to FEMA, and then we become eligible for FEMA mitigation money, and that's what this report really is tied to: mitigation money and any federal funding after disasters or anything like that. So I would certainly recommend that we as a county adopt that, and you as a commission.
Okay. Chair calls for a motion.
I'll move for approval of Resolution 2022-5, adopting of a natural hazard mitigation plan.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, George. Jennifer, personnel.
Hello again.
Hey.
Caitlin Lacey was selected from the most recent competitive recruiting and selection process to backfill the vacant full-time medical technician Deputy 1 effective June 27, 2022. And Clayton Smith has expressed interest to be rehired as a full-time Deputy 1 in corrections effective July 10th, 2022.
Yay.
Yeah. That's all I have today.
Oh, man, that was short. Short and sweet.
I'll move to approve under number 15 personnel, items 1 and 2 as described by Jennifer Bradbury.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Oh, okay. Okay, let's move on to 16, mission statement and purpose for the Iron County Children's Justice Center Friends Board.
Hello, my name's Cheyenne, and I am the current Vice President for the Friends Board of the Iron County Children's Justice Center. And
Cheyenne, what's your last name?
It is Tullis.
Tullis. Okay, thank you.
The Friends Board of the Iron County Children's Justice Center is established and organized for the purpose of fostering and assisting the Iron County Children's Justice Center in the implementation of a comprehensive, multidisciplinary, nonprofit, intergovernmental response to sexual abuse and physical abuse of children, including all other types of abuse. The purpose of the Friends Board are exclusively charitable and educational in nature. The Friends Board of the Iron County Children's Justice Center gratefully acknowledges the support that we continually receive from individuals, public and private entities, and community allies who align with our vision in both financial and all other charitable means. We couldn't do this important work without it. Our staff and volunteers strive daily to keep this vision alive in the valuable frontline work that we do. It is an honor to do work that changes lives for the better every day. The Friends Board is a nonprofit corporation that operates with a 501c3 tax-exempt status and shall have the right to engage in all lawful transactions to which a nonprofit corporation organized under the laws of the state of Utah are entitled to. Under federal tax law, 501c3 nonprofits, which the CJC qualifies as, cannot endorse or oppose candidates and therefore must remain neutral in this election. We also recognize the importance of the civic engagement as well as the First Amendment right to free speech. Therefore, we return our focus and attention to serving the CJC mission. We welcome and appreciate the support of community leaders and candidates dedicated to making our beloved community one that is free of sexual abuse and physical abuse of children, including all other types of abuse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did that PowerPoint for me, John?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I sent over a PowerPoint for John, and so I wanted to come today because we are super excited that in this month of June, the Children's Justice Center here in Iron County has been serving child victims and families in Iron County for 20 years. So we are super excited about that. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to just really focus on just those amazing accomplishments that we have done here in our small community that's getting bigger by the day. And so I just wanted to talk about kind of the organizational structure of the Children's Justice Center. So that's our current facility right there. And so just a little bit about this. The land itself was donated by Intermountain Healthcare, as well as the actual home. And Intermountain Healthcare actually had that home moved from Northfield Road over where the current hospital is, over onto this property where we went ahead and we put in a basement for additional growth, which we now have discovered that we definitely should have planned much bigger. And so this is our current location in Iron County. So the next one is Kane County Children's Justice Center. So we're super excited that in 8 years, in a matter of 8 years, we were able to get together 2 different Children's Justice Centers in Kane County. We started in the top up on the left-hand side there. We were just in a little portion of our old firehouse. And so that's where we started at, so that we could go ahead and introduce the center to the community and start giving those services to victims and families in that community. And within last year, we were able to actually do our grand opening of our brand new Kane County Children's Justice Center. And so that's 2 facilities that the community and the Children's Justice Center has been able to get going in Kane County. And so we're super excited about that. It's absolutely beautiful. The Kane County Attorney's Office did a phenomenal job in partnering with them, as well as the community who came out and rallied and helped fundraise and get that new facility up and going. That exact same year, so both Kane County and Beaver County were both opened in 2014. And so I was quite busy that year running from one end of southern Utah to the other end of southern Utah. And so in Beaver County, we opened our doors as well in 2014. And that all started with once again, our belief with Children's Justice Centers is that regardless if you are a family that's on the Wasatch Front or a family that is in, rural Utah, your child deserves to have the same available resources and services given to them no matter where they live. And so Beaver County, we were able to get that building was donated from a gentleman, myself, and the county attorney Von Christensen had actually went and presented at a city council meeting in Milford. And we had told them that we were in the process of bringing a Children's Justice Center to Beaver County and that we were looking for a building. And the gentleman who owned quite a bit of real estate in Beaver County, he waited for us after the meeting and he said, "I've got several properties. Let's follow me and I'm going to take you around and show you a couple of different buildings I have and you pick which one you guys want. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to donate that to your cause." And so from there we chose, I believe that this used to be like an old clinic in Beaver at the time. And so we had it completely remodeled and now it's comfortable, it's safe, we've got our medical program that's in there as well. We have a couple of interview rooms.
their center is actually bigger than even our center. And so it's been just amazing to just see the community come out and just rally around their Children's Justice Center. They hold a big golf tournament every single year that you see up there in the right-hand corner, and they just has just embraced the concept of the Children's Justice Center. So the latest one is Garfield County. Garfield County was the last county in the state of Utah that needed a Children's Justice Center in it. That makes every single county covered in the state of Utah, which is absolutely phenomenal, considering that neighboring states of ours only have like less than a handful of children's advocacy centers. So you really see the value of where our state legislators, our leadership, our local communities know the importance of making sure that we can provide a safe place where children's voices are heard when they're ready to talk about what has happened to them. And so we were able to open up in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, mind you, the Garfield County Children's Justice Center. It's beautiful. We went with the, hot air balloon theme, kind of matches, Panguitch's big balloon festival they have every year. The one issue with the Garfield County Children's Justice Center is it's just a temporary location. We are fortunate enough that as of right now, we are in the old high school, but as soon as the roof is failing on that building. And so as soon as that building is not inhabitable anymore, then we're going to have to find a new place for the Children's Justice Center in Garfield County. So that is something that we're just going to continue to work on and hope that something comes up for us and we're able to move from there into a permanent location. So that is 4 different counties that I'm kind of the parent over the 3 different satellites in regards to Beaver, Kane, and Garfield. The reason why the state chose to do it that way is it was just the fiscally responsible thing to do. Rather than have a director in Beaver, a director in Kane, a director in Garfield, it was better for them to have one director over several different counties, helping them get those counties up and running, handling all their administrative work, doing the grant work, as well as all of the different state quarterlies that are involved. So this just kind of tells you a little bit about where we're at in the 4 different counties that we work with. So I wanted to talk about the actual Utah CJC program. So unlike a lot of charitable organizations, the Children's Justice Center is a little different. We're actually mandated in state statute under the Attorney General's office in order to serve child victims and families. So we're a little bit different than a lot of charitable organizations. State funding, and actually if you go to the next one, John just kind of talks about how the funding is. So state appropriations is handed down from the Attorney General's office. So they get that from the state, goes to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office is actually over all of the Children's Justice Center programs in the state of Utah. And we have a program director, Tracy Tabbitt. She is absolutely phenomenal. She has really worked hard to make sure that the vision of having every single county in the state of Utah is covered. And so when Tracy Tabbitt calls me and says, Stephanie, I need you to take on, Beaver, I need Kane, I need Garfield County was our last, one. Like, let's get to the end game here. And so I am super happy that we are to a place now where we are pretty much done, except for just, finding a permanent location for Garfield, completing that vision of what we had of every county in the state of Utah being covered. So every year we get state appropriations. We receive it on the 1st of July and goes till the end of June every year. My state funding that I get from the Attorney General's office is roughly around $190,000. This was the most current year, 2021 to 2022. I did receive an additional $8,000 in one-time funds that we were able to use within the 4 different counties. From there, the Utah Attorney General's office, through contracts with Iron County government as a pass-through. It takes care of all of our operational costs, which is great. No hard county dollars are provided to the Children's Justice Center program. Iron County provides in-kind support through our phone service, our internet, administration oversight, through our county attorney's office. It's passed through a bill pay for operational costs and general auditing oversight by our county auditor and use of a vehicle. All expenses for the Children's Justice Center program are paid through state, federal, and private dollars. I did, however, forget that we do get a donation from Cedar City Corporation of $10,000 every single year. I did forget to put that in there, and as I was driving over, I was like, I already sent that off to John, and so I just wanted to bring that up. So if you go to the next one, just to kind of give you an idea, I have aggressively written grants to support our other program costs, to build and expand our program services to victims and their families, such as free of charge medical and mental health care. Our medical program, we contract with Primary Children, Safe and Healthy Families. Every single one of our Children's Justice Centers has access to free medical care. They get a free medical exam. They're able to send that off to Primary Children's, where they have a couple of additional experts who review the information, which is fabulous. We're able to, I saw a couple of my investigators walk in, but it's great to have that because they're able to use that in court as well as in the county attorney's office. And having that expert witness testimony really helps them out quite a bit. Mental health care is provided through VOCA. VOCA federal funding. It's actually a 2-year grant for year 2021 to 2022. Was able to bring a little over $524,000 into Iron County for mental health care for our victims and their families. 2022 to 2023, because VOCA is federal fines and that amount of funding got cut on a federal level, they had to reduce all of our grants. And so for this upcoming year, it's $453,000. That is almost $1 million of federal funding just through VOCA brought into Iron County through the Children's Justice Center program to help victims and families within our community. That speaks volumes. So that goes to, Iron, Beaver, Kane, and Garfield. So all 4 counties are actually able to get that. It does also help fund our partial advocate positions in all 3 centers, and along with mental health with some travel and training involved as well. I do want to completely clarify, because there's been some confusion in regards to whether VOCA is taxpayers' dollars or not. It absolutely is not. It is federal fines that are imposed on people who have committed federal crimes. And so with that funding goes to support victims who have been affected by crime programs. And so that's been a really great resource for us, and we'll continue. I will continue to go after that federal funding every single year in order to bring those dollars into these counties and provide those services for those families. We do also get funding from the National Children's Alliance. That is actually an accreditation process that I'm going through right now. Kind of what George was saying, every 5 years they have to, kind of go over, this is how the National Children's Alliance is. It's a book about this thick. It is grueling. It is time consuming. They have 10 different standards in regards to best practice that each Children's Justice Center is asked to do. And so luckily in Iron County, we have met those standards phenomenally. We have an amazing team. And with that, they provide $7,000 a year to help the support administration cost, which is actually the executive director's position. As well as this last year, the Cambria Foundation grant was $64,000. That covers mental health treatment of child victims as well. So that's in addition to the VOCA funding that I have that ran from April 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of information about how the actual funding of the Children's Justice Center is actually done. And then, of course, we have the Friends Board, which is our private nonprofit 501c3 group. And they kind of help us with things that normal program operational cost or the different grants that I write don't cover, such as, it's kind of interesting, but there's nothing that covers bricks and mortar at all, or if my heater was to fail or my AC unit was to fail. And so that is why it is so critical for us to have our Friends Board. They're also going to be working on getting us a brand new building because we have absolutely outgrown ourselves. the amount of families that we serve here in Iron County is comparable to counties that are up north on the Wasatch Front. And I always make sure that I have this disclaimer. It is not because there is more child abuse happening in Iron County. It is because we have an amazing team. A team of law enforcement, child protective services, the county attorney's office. 30 plus different partnering agencies within our community that come together every other week. We staff our cases. We find out what we can do to support and strengthen and empower these families so that when their children come to the center and they're ready to it's got to be the most courageous, most brave thing that a child could ever do. I might get a little emotional. It's not strangers that does this to these kids. It's people they love and care about. Okay, so next one, John. So this kind of just shows you kind of a pie chart visually. I'm a visual person, so just kind of shows you the different funding that comes in. I am missing, like I said, the $10,000 from Cedar City Corporation that we're extremely grateful for as well on a local level. This kind of talks about what happens back here in Iron County now. The child and an allegation is called in, reported to Law Enforcement Child Protective Services. Our investigators arrange for the child to be brought into the CJC in order to receive a forensic interview by one of our investigators. And then, of course, the Children's Justice Center victim advocates sit down with the family. They talk about what everybody's roles, procedure is. We also do different types of, it's called a care process model. It actually assesses where the child is at. It's a project that we've partnered with Safe and Healthy Families, and the one thing that we have found out consecutively in the time that we've been working on providing this care process model to these kiddos is 46% of the children that walk into the Children's Justice Center have thought about committing suicide in the last 2 weeks. That's a lot. That's over half of our kids have thought about committing suicide. And so that's huge. So they receive that services and we're able to link them with mental health immediately. We are able to get them a medical program and get them assessed so that they know that their bodies are okay, that their body is safe, and that the hopes is that they come out on the other side and they're going to know that this has happened to them, but this hasn't defined who they are. And so it's great to see how what happens today in a Children's Justice Center talks about how, Robin talks to about 3 people. And so we work really close with law enforcement, child protective services, and the county attorney's office. And then the next slide, John, prior to Children's Justice Center, that's how it looked, is as a parent, you had to take your child to all these different places, and they averaged talking to about 15 people, which is, that's just re-victimizing victims over and over again. And so it is great to have a place where that is safe, it's comfortable, it looks like a house. We actually have kids that say they don't want to leave, they want to stay there. Can we move in? Can we just stay here at the CJC? And so it just shows you how our community has really just wrapped themselves around making sure that kids are safe. So, like I said, no charge to victims and families. We've got our on-site medical program in Iron, Beaver, and Kane. Garfield County actually comes over to Beaver in order to get their medical exams done. Our hope is that once we get a permanent location, we will have an actual medical exam room in there as well. And we help them, of course, with fuel cost and anything else that they might need in regards to that, as well as making sure that their mental health needs are taken care of as well. We are super proud of our accomplishments here in Iron, Beaver, Kane, Garfield County. Children's Justice Center, we have an absolute phenomenal team, and you don't go into this work unless you are passionate about what you do. It is hard work, and these guys can attest to it. It's hard, and they are there, and they make a choice every single day to show up and to be there for those kids and those families and do the hard work. We're just there as a place to help facilitate that for all of them, and we greatly appreciate the work that they do. I just wanted to talk about, this is what it's all about right here. I always talk about, this is my why. This was at our latest Dancing with the Stars, and Anne Marie Allen's husband,
Randy
Allen, he just like snapped this picture like super quick. It was like one of those like, didn't even think about it. He just said, "Oh my gosh, you guys turn around." And we all just kind of turned around. And I just feel like that just shows from these silly, goofy, fun, innocent faces that we remember what the Children's Justice Center is about and why we do this work and the importance of it. Because if we don't address this now, I've had great-grandmas sitting on my couch and say, "This happened to me when I was 9 years old, and I've never told anyone until today," as they're there with their own grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so I just wanted to just remind everyone just the importance. And that was left on a chalkboard. Thank you for listening to me. And that's what's most important, is that we're there for these families. You know, it's crazy to think that 20 years ago, a man by the name of Scott Sorensen, he actually came to me, and we had sat on several committees together. And I had been the director of Care and Share when I first moved here to Iron County, and then I was working for the state of Utah as a social worker. And Scott came to me and said, "Hey, I'm looking at bringing a Children's Justice Center to Iron County because I don't feel that our family should have to drive all the way to St. George in order to receive services." And he had worked very diligently with the Attorney General's office to get a very small, it's like $30,000, I think, of a budget to just get a Children's Justice Center up and running. The Cedar City Police Department opened their doors for us. I had a small office as we were working on getting an actual place up and going and running. We created a soft room. Took us a little over 2 years in order to get our actual building up and going, because it all has to be done by the community. You do not get funding for the actual building. That's something that our state legislators have wrote in regards to our funding with the Children's Justice Centers, that needs to come from the community, because they want them to feel like it's their Children's Justice Center. And so between lots of people coming out, contractors, I remember we had a judge who actually ordered a gentleman that was a contractor that had to do community service to work on the Children's Justice Center. That was great.
If we could get that again.
We've had the Iron County work crew come out. They build like our steps and different things like that, you know. And so, you know, Scott just had this vision of what he knew that this county needed. He continued to sit on our advisory board for 19 years as our advisory board chair, just recently resigning because he's retiring and going off and having fun, and he is so deserving of that. And our new advisory board chair is Chief Jackson Ames in the Enoch Police Department, and doing an amazing job as well. And I want to thank Mike, has been our liaison for the county commission, and prior to that, Alma was there for a long time as well. How many terms did Alma do? Do you remember?
3.5.
Yeah, so that'd be about right then of how long we've been up and running. And so we're excited about our new building that we're going to be building. We're working really close with Jennifer Davis, our president to our Friends Board, and our Friends Board is super excited, and we're ready to get going.
That's a lot of money they've raised.
Oh, it is. And
360,000. That's a lot.
It's interesting because, like I had said, the amount of families and kiddos that we serve here in Iron County is comparable to the Wasatch Front. And we should be in about a 7,000 square foot building is what the Attorney General's office is telling us in regards to, you know, space. And I think we're at like 2,000. So we are really on top of each other. We're really moving around families because, you know, we want to protect everybody's confidentiality. And so we're just excited to step into the next phase of this journey of building a new, beautiful center for families and kiddos. That we're working on it right now. Jennifer's still working on it. She's been hard working on it. And so if you guys have any questions in regards to anything, I've actually put in the state statute in regards to the Children's Justice Center's program here for your review to show how, like I said, we're a little bit different when it comes to a charitable organization because we're actually mandated in state statute through the Attorney General's office. So
I have Tracy on the phone from the Attorney General's office that wants to weigh in.
Okay.
For a second. Let me hold on. Let me get you off mute and. All right, Tracy.
Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to just speak briefly this morning. I had hoped to be there in person, and things just did not work out. But certainly my heart is with you. So, and I'm going to try not to get emotional with you, Stephanie. I hope you see how committed she is to this work. And that is true with every employee that we've worked with in that center under Stephanie's very capable leadership. It feels a bit, I guess, really odd to celebrate 20 years because if we had our way, we would be out of a job. I would love nothing more than for us to be able to go do something else that doesn't involve children who have been abused. But as long as there are kids who need us, we need to keep our doors open, and we need to be able to meet the increasing demand of that service population, which has unfortunately grown in my almost 30 years here in the AG's office. We're seeing more kids today than we ever expected. And if there's any sort of positive in all of that, is that we have then grown in our knowledge about how to best serve these kids, how to meet their needs, how to make sure, as Stephanie said, that what happened to them does not define them, and that with the right support that they're able to work through the healing process and come out on the other side and lead very happy, fulfilling lives. And that's really the hope and promise of the CJC. So with that, I just want to thank Iron County for being such an incredible partner over the years. I've had the good fortune to work with many commissioners, county attorneys, other elected officials. And as someone who hails from rural Utah myself, I do feel strongly that every child should have access to services no matter where you reside in the state. And that's certainly been true in Iron County. So I just hope to continue to work with you closely to support the needs of your community, to support Stephanie and her team in any way we can, particularly as they move into a building that is long overdue. Again, it's served its purpose. I remember when that little house was relocated and how exciting it was when those doors opened. But our work has evolved, the needs have grown, and so I do look forward to maybe joining you for a grand opening at some time in the near future. So with that, again, just thank you for the support that you provide at the CJC, and I hope to see you all soon. Stephanie, is there anything that you'd want me to address?
No, I think you've addressed it all, and we just appreciate you. You know, I can't say no to this woman at all. You don't say no to Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions for me at all? Well, we brought cake, so we're gonna cut out. That's why we had to wait till the end. So we felt no better way to celebrate the children.
Some kind. It was just cake.
Just cake.
Just cake.
Yeah. That no better way to celebrate the Children's Justice Center than with cake for their anniversary, and so we are so grateful for our team that makes up the Children's Justice Center, and we could not do it without them. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. We appreciate what you do, and I know it's a hard job. I guess we will adjourn. Is there anything else?
Did you have any non-delegated items?
No county boards or...
Okay. I don't think
Nope.
No county
No prairie
board.
dogs. We got that right off the commission agenda, so that's good. Okay. Thank you. Guess we'll adjourn.